He already knows where all the crazy SSS rank ladies live. Where all the SSS rank skills and quests are hidden, so he follows his own path and keeps shocking all the viewers watching him play through the stream. Kidnapped by a goddess, Kong was forced to suffer through countless cycles of regression, possession, and reincarnation in search of a way to save the world of Urport. Unable to bear the pain any longer, he pleaded with the goddess to release him and was finally returned to his original world. In the next moment, he hears a voice calling Kong Hanbit and saying his mom is leaving for work. The guy says his stomach is killing him. 18 months later, he says that 18 months have passed since he returned to reality. He says he had been through so many regressions that he had almost no memory of his real life, but it slowly began to return. Then he says that he was kidnapped by the goddess the day before he was supposed to enlist, and 18 months passed just like that. He adds that he was discharged from the military yesterday. In South Korea, the mandatory military service for the army is 18 months. Then the guy says, after being very tired, that the more he thinks about it, the more it pisses him off. He says that if you count the number of times he had to do military service during his regressions, possessions, and reincarnations, this was his 6th tour of duty, though it was a little different from the real army. Then Kong says that adjusting to modern life is so damn hard, and that it's all that damn goddess's fault. He says he worked his ass off to prepare and somehow landed this internship, but wonders how long he'll be able to last. He adds that when he returns to school, he'll have to file for a work-related leave of absence, and that the future looks so bleak. Kong doesn't want to think about it anymore, and then he hears a sound and says that he's coming. As he looks at his phone, he sees a message asking if he's going hard again today. Then another message says he's a crazy punk and that Hyung is old and tired, so he should go easy on all that stuff. Kong realizes this punk is provoking him again, but he says and thinks in his mind that, well, whatever. After all, he's the one he's grateful to for looking after him when he was thrown back into the army right after returning to reality. Then the message says he'll give him a military discharge gift. Now Kong wonders what gift it is. As he thinks about it further, he admits he's actually kind of looking forward to a gift from this guy. Then a voice calls out to him, saying to come over and that something has already been ordered for him. This is Ju Yun-woo, his senior by 4 months during his time in the military, but 5 years younger than Kong. Even here, Kong only cares about the gift, and if they're not talking about it, he just wants to leave. The other guy says he remembers the game he told him about before, called Record Project. He explains that this is an RP membership card, and it's level 2. With it, Kong can get the gear to play RP from home, including equipment capable of level 2 synchronization. It sounds like some serious tech. He tells Kong it's his gift, so he should just take it. He adds that it costs about 500, but since it's for him, it's all good. Then Kong says that if he needs a residential security guard, he should just give him the word. Then the guy says he's got plenty of spare rooms and asks if he really wants to move in. Then he says he's kidding and that he found a job he has to start tomorrow, so he doesn't think he'll be able to play any games. He adds that Kong knows his family situation is tight, and if it comes down to it, he might even have to get a second job. Then the guy asks if that means making money is the priority. Kong says of course, and that it makes more sense to work another part-time job than to waste time on something like games. The other guy says he really has no romance in his soul, calling him Hyung. Then Kong fires back, asking if romance can put food on the table, and if games can do that either. The other guy says he's not finished talking. Up until now, he's just been building it up. Then he says that depending on how you play RP, you can make a fortune like hundreds of millions, for real. Hearing that, Kong gets a bit more interested and asks him to forgive his rudeness, addressing him as Sergeant Ju Yun-woo, and humbly requests a more detailed explanation. Yun-woo asks if he knows that the company that developed RP is Team Zero. However, Kong says that's news to him. Then Yun-woo continues, explaining that the will of Team Zero's founder, Michael Walton, was recently revealed, causing a massive uproar. He says Walton is going to hand over all rights to RP to the first player who clears it. The game was already popular worldwide, but this announcement has thrown gasoline on the fire. Because of that, the value of in-game currency has skyrocketed, especially walkthroughs that help with clearing the game. You can practically name your own price for them. Even major conglomerates are pouring in massive investments to form their own professional strategy teams. But that doesn't mean individual players are completely out of the running, since these conditions were set by Michael Walton himself. He says the guidance is there, so they should give it a shot. After hearing all this, Kong also gets really interested. And in the end, he says that since Yun-woo went through all the trouble of setting this up for him, he might as well give it a try. Then when they reach the place, they find quite a big crowd. After seeing it, Kong says to Ju Yun-woo that it's a bit too crowded in here. Yun-woo laughs and says this is nothing compared to the crowds in the US or Europe. Then he tells him to come this way, since that's where they need to go. However, Kong then complains, asking why he's grabbing his collar. Then Yun-woo says that before they do anything else, they have to buy the guidebook for newbies. After reading it for a bit, Kong reacts, asking what the hell this is. Ju Yun-woo asks if something is wrong. At that moment, Kong thinks in his mind that the goddess said she expected great things from him. He suddenly hears her voice again and wonders why this is in here. He's completely shocked because the goal written there is to find Airfort. Yun-woo says that he's looking way too serious and asks if he's worried it'll be too hard. Kong replies that it's not that and says more importantly he has something to ask. He asks if Yun-woo knows anything about Team Zero. Yun-woo says he doubts there's anyone who hasn't heard of them, but also doubts anyone knows the details. He explains that Team Zero's current representative handles all external activities alone, and that it's supposedly Michael Walton's youngest daughter. He adds that the scale of the development team and information about its members are all kept completely secret. Then Kong thinks to himself that it's suspicious, and wonders if there could be some connection with that goddess. But then he questions why a game of all things. He reflects that the world he was sent to wasn't just some game. The unpleasantness he felt when he did various bad things there, and that horrific sensation every time he was taken out for the first time were all too real. He remembers how she would immediately get angry and say he failed. The despair of having to repeat that life endlessly is still vivid to him. He wonders if it's really right for him to step back into a place that might be hell all over again. Then he thinks that maybe this is his chance to finally put an end to that pain. So Kong asks how long it will take to get the gear using that membership. Yun-woo says it'll take about 2 hours, since these days delivery is immediate. He asks Kong to give him his phone so he can set up the necessary apps, and also tells him to buy that book since it's all crumpled anyway. As he's leaving, Yun-woo says he'll head in first and tells Kong to contact him as soon as he creates his account, adding that he'll be waiting for him. Kong laughs and says he'll get in as fast as he can, though he thinks to himself that it's not like the equipment will arrive any faster just because he rushes. But when Kong gets home, he finds that the package has already arrived. He thinks to himself that it's a 5,000,001 gaming console, and as he takes everything out, he looks at it all with curiosity. Then he says there's still some time before his mom gets home, so just in case, he'll try it out. As soon as he does, a system notification appears, saying it's scanning biometric information and brainwaves. Then it says the link is complete, character rebirth is complete, and character customization is starting. As he enters the game, he finds himself inside and says that it feels way more like a real body than he expected. He notes that it's still just a mannequin, though, and that his limbs feel a bit heavy, probably because of the gear. He recalls that he was supposed to be able to set the appearance freely and decides to apply a few adjustments. But then he notices the settings window isn't popping up and wonders if it's a bug. He comments that for such a popular game, it's surprisingly flimsy. He decides to just reboot it and wonders if that's the exit button. But as soon as he presses the system button, a red alert appears saying that character creation failed. This shocks him, and no matter what he tries, everything starts glitching. Frustrated, he shouts that there's already an existing character and blames the goddess, saying this is probably her doing too. Later, he finds himself in Port City, Edlin. Looking around, he says it's been a long time. Then he notices his appearance and realizes it's exactly the same as it was during his final regression. He wonders if this is a silent message from the goddess, telling him to start over. Suddenly, he receives a message from someone named Loafer, who excitedly asks him to add him as a friend and greets him as Corporal Kong. Seeing this, Kong realizes that Loafer was Yun-woo's nickname. He wonders what to press to add a friend, and after figuring it out, he finally responds. Loafer, aka Yun-woo, complains that he told him to contact him the moment he logged in. Kong asks if it's really Yun-woo, then confirms that it definitely is him. Loafer introduces himself as Luxurious Loafer. Then Loafer asks why Kong customized his character like that, pointing out that hardly anyone makes their character look exactly like their real-life appearance, and wonders if it's confidence. Kong brushes it off, saying it just turned out that way. So Kong ended up making his character look exactly like himself, which Yun-woo finds strange. Loafer says it suits him, so it's fine, but then asks what's up with that nickname. Kong asks what nickname he's talking about. Loafer tells him he made it himself and should know, and tells him to click on the character info. When Kong checks, he sees the nickname Black Dragon level. Even he finds it weird and says he didn't set that, telling him to change it quickly. Loafer says he should have seen the warning during character creation, explaining that the nickname is engraved into his biometric info, so it can never be changed. Hearing that, Kong says this is seriously driving him crazy. However, Loafer just can't stop laughing. Kong tells him to stop laughing, calling him a punk. Loafer calls for a timeout and tells him to check his notifications first. Kong takes a look and asks what this is, wondering if he streams too. The notification says that his gameplay will be simultaneously broadcast on Loafer's stream and asks if he agrees. Loafer immediately agrees. He explains that there aren't many viewers yet, but he's been doing it consistently. He says there's a separate broadcasting platform called Recorder that RP supports natively, and that it's actually pretty fun to play while communicating in real time. Kong asks if this is the way he was talking about making money and questions why he would even broadcast. Loafer tells him not to feel pressured, saying he'll handle the hosting while Kong just plays the game. He adds that they'll split the profit 50-50, and if the stream does well, Kong could even take 60% or more. Kong gives him a weird, silent look and says he guesses he has no choice. He does the math out loud, saying that if they make 1,001, he gets 500, then questions what happens after commission. Loafer tells him to just trust him for once. Then Loafer starts the stream, introducing himself and greeting the viewers. Someone in the chat points out that it's Black Dragon. Loafer introduces Kong as Brother Black Dragon, who will be joining him from now on, and says they'll show many interesting things in the future. The chat immediately fills up with comments welcoming the newbie, but also making fun of his nickname, saying it sounds like he has late 8th grade syndrome. After reading those comments, Kong, now Black Dragon level, is clearly not happy. Another comment mocks him further, saying that at his level, he's not a dragon but a worm. Loafer tells him to calm down, reminding him that if he gets mad, they'll just tease him more. He also reminds him that their goal is to make money. Then another comment appears, questioning whether a small-time streamer even has the luxury to filter out hate comments. Kong brushes it off, saying they're just people who enjoy getting under other people's skin. Loafer calls out to him, saying brother, just as another comment pops up saying they'll show him what a real hate comment looks like. Then Loafer brushes it off and asks what they should do now. Since it's Kang's first time, he suggests checking the skill recommendations, explaining that the system scans the player and recommends about 3 skills that suit them. The system shows 3 options: basic fire magic, basic alchemy, and basic swordsmanship. Seeing this, Kong thinks that he learned so many techniques during his 55 cycles, and it would be great if those techniques were actually implemented here as skills. As he looks at the options, Loafer notices and asks if he's checking right now, saying he's curious to see what comes up. But in the very next moment, something huge lights up in front of them. Both of them freeze, completely confused. Loafer asks what this is, and Kong also wonders the same thing. Even the chat starts reacting, with viewers asking what they're looking at, as everyone is left confused by whatever just appeared. As the light flares up, Loafer is completely stunned, and the chat instantly goes wild. People start saying that it has to be a bug, asking if they'll get compensation if it is. Others accuse him of hacking, saying to report him, while some just call it a trash game and demand one for themselves too. Loafer, still shocked, asks Kong how he did that. Kong snaps back, asking why he's asking him. Then Kong looks at it again, confused, asking what exactly this even is. Loafer suddenly realizes and says these are hidden skills, jackpot, and not just 1 or 2 but a whole bunch of them. The chat completely explodes with reactions. Kong stays calm and points out that they're still just recommendations. But Loafer, way too excited, says these aren't normal recommendations, and that there are tons of icons he's never even seen before. He asks the viewers if they're seeing this and says it's amazing. Meanwhile, Kong thinks to himself that he can actually recognize all of them, and that it's not a bad start. He decides he needs to use these as a stepping stone to grow stronger. From there, he'll build on that growth, figure out the differences between the world he knew and this one, and uncover the goddess's true intentions. For now, he decides to play it safe with fire attribute magic. Then Kong asks Yunwoo where to pick up quests. Loafer reacts with surprise, asking if he's really going the magic route. Kong questions why that would be a bad idea. Immediately, the chat starts roasting him, spamming messages about magic and mocking him for choosing it just for the aesthetic. Kong gets annoyed and asks what their problem is, wondering if magic is really that bad. Loafer explains that the most important thing in this game is proficiency, and compared to other skills, magic is extremely hard to level up. He says that while a star icon appears once you max it out, until then, you can't even track your progress. The chat adds on, saying the system needs a patch, that he'll have to learn the hard way, and joking that he'll cry and quit after using the same spell for 2 months. Hearing all this, Kong thinks back and remembers clearly that learning anything requires talent and effort, but magic was especially difficult. Because of that, who you learned it from mattered even more. Then Kong asks who the master is, saying he gets to choose one, right? Hearing that, Loafer gets confused and asks what he means by a master. Kong explains that if he needs to learn magic, there should be someone to teach him. The chat immediately starts clowning him, asking what's up with this guy and joking that he sounds like he's about to take a written exam. Loafer steps in and tells everyone to calm down, saying Kong just doesn't know any better. But Kong is still confused. Then Loafer explains that when you clear quests and achievements, you get skill books that let you learn abilities instantly. He adds that while NPCs have high-level AI, they're not advanced enough to actually teach skills. Kong thinks to himself that skill books are way too convenient. He recalls how things used to be, remembering asking his master to stop for the day, only to be told to stop whining and get up because he still had a mountain of things to learn. Thinking back, Kong realizes he suffered way more back then. Then Kong says they should get going and asks if they're heading to the general store. Loafer is surprised and asks how he knew, explaining that you can buy fire attribute magic from Yolio, the general merchant. Hearing that name, Kong reacts strongly, calling Yolio an ugly scammer. He questions why they would go to him. Loafer replies that it's because they need to get a spell book, clearly having no idea what Kong is talking about. Kong doubles down, saying that guy is pure scum and that spell books are a total scam. The chat reacts instantly, jokingly asking if Kong just hates him because he's ugly. Someone even roleplays Yolio crying, saying Kong slanders people like it's nothing and that he's built different. Then suddenly, a donation message appears saying Yolio has donated 1,001 and that he's going to see him soon. Loafer immediately gets hyped and thanks Yolio loudly for the donation. Kong, confused, asks if money just came in. Loafer confirms and explains that even after the platform fee, Kong just made about 501 as well. Kong pauses, processing it, and just responds with a simple "oh." The chat starts laughing at his reaction, saying it's time for him to hit it big with those hidden skills and calling him innocent. Then Kong asks if even 101 is considered money to them. Then Kong asks if 1,001 is even considered money to him. Loafer replies that it might be chump change, but it's still business. However, Kong immediately snaps back, saying chump change? Even 1,001 is precious to him. He jokes that if Loafer and 1,001 both fell into the water, he'd save the 1,001 every time. Loafer calls that cruel. The chat jumps in, roasting Loafer, saying he's worth less than 1,001, cheaper than a tire, and that his life is on clearance. Loafer tries to move things along, saying that regardless, they still need to go to Yolio for fire attribute magic and tells him to hurry up. Then he notices Kong hesitating and asks what he's doing. Kong says he really thinks he needs to find a magic master and asks if he knows her, showing Absel. Loafer goes quiet for a moment after seeing her, then says that gimmick isn't bad, but if he keeps it up, people are going to start getting annoyed. Kong immediately shuts that down, saying it's not a gimmick and asking where he even got that information from. Loafer explains that to players, Absel is just a quest NPC, the kind that gets locked up for fraud and theft and then disappears from the game. He adds that her character design is popular, so there were a lot of requests to add a proper route for her, but it never happened. No matter what Loafer says, Kong doesn't budge. He says it'll be faster to just show him the results and insists on going to Absel. The chat starts getting annoyed, saying the gimmick was funny at first but is now getting irritating. Some question why a supposed newbie is acting like this, calling him stubborn. Kong stays silent for a moment, then suddenly gives in and says they'll go see Yolio instead and try the route everyone is recommending. The chat reacts instantly, teasing him for giving in to backseating. Someone throws in a challenge, saying they'll donate 10,001 if Yolio is actually a scammer, and to double it if he's not, even telling Kong to do a dance. Kong gets annoyed, asking why he has to do that. Then he casually says he can dance as much as they want since he danced a lot in the military. The chat immediately fires back with jokes, saying there's no demand for that. Kong gets confused, asking who even brought up dancing in the first place. Then he brushes it off and tells Loafer to follow him. Loafer gets confused and asks why he's going that way. Kong simply says they're taking a shortcut. Then Loafer gets excited and asks Kong how he knows these routes, wondering if it's really his first time. Kong just says it's a gut feeling. Loafer Loafer then announces to the stream that they've arrived at Yolio's shop. Inside, Yolio looks a bit different, and Loafer even comments that he hopes he's not a scammer. But the moment Kong sees him, he feels a surge of anger. He thinks that this brings back some seriously infuriating memories. Kong then asks about the level of NPC interaction. Loafer explains that the degree of freedom is so high that it's actually faster to find something you can't do. He adds that it's so advanced that it can even block your game progression. The chat reacts, saying that level of freedom is insane and laughing about it. Some mention that you can even go to jail if you mess with the wrong NPC. Others say they've heard of players getting their quests completely blocked and having to delete their characters. They joke that freedom comes with responsibility. But even after hearing all that, Kong just can't tolerate it. He walks straight into the shop and opens the door. Yolio greets him politely, welcoming him as a customer. But instead of responding normally, Kong immediately grabs him and angrily accuses him of pulling the same crap again, calling him an irredeemable piece of trash. Yolio is completely confused, caught off guard by the sudden aggression. From outside, Loafer sees everything happening and panics, shouting for Black Dragon to stop. The chat instantly reacts, saying he actually did it and joking that another player is about to get reported. Kong is still furious, but he decides to let Yolio go for now. Yolio, trying to stay composed, says that the spell book that was just sold was the last one and apologizes. He adds that he doesn't have much to offer instead, but he can introduce another shop if Kong does him a favor. He explains that a thief broke into his shop while he was dozing off, and from the looks of it, he suspects it was the work of a rival merchant. He asks Kong to help catch the thief. A quest window appears, stating that Yolio's money bag has been stolen and instructing him to use the evidence to apprehend the culprit, along with the general merchant. The rewards include 100 gold, a fireball spellbook, a recommendation letter, rank 1 normal, 50 experience, and no time limit. The chat immediately starts spamming messages, calling Kong out and reminding him that he said it was a scam. Some joke about the spellbook being a scam again, while others bring up the dance he promised, asking if he's actually going to do it. One even says they won the bet, but somehow still feel like they lost. Kong, however, is deep in thought. He realizes that Yolio is giving a quest based on a lie. He remembers that Absel was his true magic mentor and benefactor. But in his first playthrough, simply because he trained under her, he was framed and sent to prison. His memories continue. He recalls being in a dungeon, hearing someone call him Absel's dog, and accuse him of only learning how to steal. That voice belonged to Yolio. He remembers how bribed soldiers and fabricated evidence made any defense useless back then. Back in the present, Kong asks Yolio to confirm that he'll receive the spell book if he completes the quest. The chat mocks him again, calling him pathetic and reminding him he still has to dance, even suggesting a 3-way split screen. Ignoring them, Kong asks what will happen to the thief. Loafer answers that once they're sent to prison, they don't appear again. Hearing that, Kong connects the dots. He realizes that Absel will be held accountable for Yolio's crimes, and the future of the shop is already obvious. Yolio urges him again to hurry and catch the culprit. Meanwhile, Loafer is panicking, asking Kong what he's doing and warning him not to mess things up, saying Yolio will start freaking out about his customer. The comments immediately agree that he's pulling aggro, saying he's definitely doing it and that he's actually going in. Kong ignores all of it and snaps, telling Yolio to shut up and calling him a con artist. He grabs a bag and points out that he said he was robbed, right? At that moment, the quest updates, telling him to apprehend the scammer Yolio with a reward of 500 gold. Yolio's expression completely changes, and he panics, asking if it's really being treated as a scam and saying it actually happened. Then he tries to talk Kong down, calling him sharp and saying he has nothing to sell to someone like him, telling him to get out. But before he can finish, Kong just kicks him straight in the face, sending him flying. The chat instantly explodes. Some scream about their lost gold. Others complain that no one told them this was possible. Some say Black Dragon kept insisting it was a scam, while others point out that he was the only one saying it. A few accuse Yolio of tricking them, and some even say they want to re-roll their characters. And of course, someone still brings up the dance. Meanwhile, Yolio keeps shouting that he didn't do anything, but it's useless. He gets thrown behind bars. Kong watches everything calmly and thinks that, just as expected, this is different from back then. This must be the difference between a game and a real parallel world. In the past, he had to break through bribe guards and personally hand Yolio over to someone trustworthy. A quest completion window appears, saying that a new quest will open when moving to Absel's general store, and that the reward of 500 gold has been distributed. The chat starts freaking out again, begging for a reset, calling it a trap, and asking for a redo. Some even jokingly beg for just a little bit of gold back. Kong thinks to himself that the flow of events feels almost too perfect, like it was waiting for this exact development. He wonders if he should consider it a coincidence. months. Loafer, completely shocked, calls out to him and asks what just happened and how he knew. Kong also wonders how he's supposed to explain this, knowing Loafer wouldn't believe him even if he told the truth, so he quickly makes something up. He says that he really loves fantasy novels and that the development was exactly like an out-of-print novel he read a long time ago, so he just took a shot. He even jokes that maybe the person who wrote that novel is the one in charge of this game story, saying it's way too similar. Loafer buys it instantly, saying Kong must have been a total geek and that he understands now. Kong thinks to himself that he actually believed that excuse and feels relieved he spent all that time talking about fantasy stuff in the military. Just then, a donation message pops up saying someone sent 10,000 won. Loafer immediately gets hyped and thanks them, praising Kong and saying he's sharp and great at reasoning. He even jokes that those fire fists would have made Yolio the culprit even if he wasn't. The chat reacts positively this time, with some saying he proved himself and telling him to enjoy it, while others admit Yolio really did look like a criminal. Kong, however, thinks to himself if streaming is always like this. He decides to leave all of that to Yunwoo and just focus on what he's good at. Loafer, still amazed, wonders if the shop will really appear if they go this way. He says he never thought Absel would be connected like this and that the community is going to go crazy over it. Kong reminds him that once someone is caught, they don't appear on the map again. Then he thinks deeper, just like he got rid of Yolio, others will too. An important NPC is now being treated like a petty criminal by most players. If Absel knew this, she'd be furious and call it unfair. To Kong, Absel wasn't just some NPC. He remembers her voice clearly, telling him to work instead of standing around, calling him out for being useless, telling him to at least study magic instead of wasting his life moving boxes. She was harsh, but also worried about him, warning him to be careful so he wouldn't get hurt. Even when he was thrown in prison, she stood by him, telling him to lift his head because she knew it wasn't his fault, and that she wouldn't let that rat get away with it. In the end, she burned and left the world, a painful but precious memory that still lingers with him. Now, standing here again, it feels heavy. He opens the door and sees Absel right in front of him. After everything, he finally gets to face her again. Absel looks at him and says he's a face she hasn't seen before, asking if he came looking for her knowing who she is. Kong replies that he came because he wants to learn magic from her. Absel responds that he's funny and asks why she should teach someone she's never even seen before. Kong thinks that of course she would refuse, but thanks to what happened earlier, the solution is already prepared. Meanwhile, the chat goes completely off the rails, calling her mommy and making all kinds of chaotic comments. Then suddenly, Absel looks at him more closely and pauses. She says to wait and then realizes something. She says she sees it now, he's Black Dragon. Kong says that Yolio was framing her as a thief. Absel reacts casually, saying that piece of trash was bound to cause trouble someday anyway, and thanks Kong for helping her avoid a bad situation. Kong brushes it off, saying not to mention it and that he hates that guy too. Absel agrees, saying you could tell just from his face and questioning who would even believe him. Kong doubles down, saying he totally has the face of a scammer. The chat jumps in again, joking that Yolio is taking random LS, while others say it's not random. It's just facts. Absel then brings up the magic book he mentioned, but pauses as she looks at something. Kong notices and asks if she's looking for a cure. Absel gets confused and asks how he knows that. Kong points out that it's written right there on the desk and says he'll help her. She asks if he knows a lot about medicine, and Kong confidently says he does. Absel tests him, asking for the name of a disease that causes blue pupils along with dizziness and vomiting. Kong admits he doesn't know the name of the disease. Hearing that, Absel thinks to herself that she knew it. She's been fooled too many times before. Those so-called experts were all the same, chasing money with fake diagnoses, wasting time and treatment costs, turning hope into poison again and again. But then Kong continues, pointing out that potions or recovery magic don't work at all, and that the patient doesn't feel hunger. That makes Absel pause. She's surprised and asks if he actually knows what disease it is. Kong says there's no known name for it, but he does know how to cure it. Now desperate, Absel asks him to help her and promises to reward him properly. Kong assures her to trust him, saying he'll definitely get the medicine. At that moment, a quest window appears, stating that he has discovered Absel's hidden worries and must cure the disease her mother is suffering from. The objective is to find the right medicine around Adelon, with rewards of 2,000 gold, Absel's Fireball magic book, plus 3 hero stat points, and 500 experience. The quest immediately feels important, and the chat goes absolutely wild. Some are shouting hero, while others can't believe it's a guaranteed hero rank. A few are just spamming crazy LOL, while others are still throwing shade at Yolio. Some viewers even say they're about to boot up the game themselves. Loafer is just as shocked, saying this doesn't make sense and that a guaranteed hero rank is unbelievable. Kong, confused, asks what hero even means. He says he also saw something called rank next to it and reminds Loafer that he's a newbie, so he needs a proper explanation. Loafer explains that rank is basically the tier level while grade is the rarity. Even if it's the same rank 1 magic book, its performance changes depending on rarity: normal, advanced, rare, hero, unique, epic, legendary, and mythic. He adds that he didn't even know rank 1 could have a hero grade, and that a guaranteed 1 sounds like nonsense. Kong processes this and thinks about how the same magic book having different performance levels didn't exist in the other world. He wonders if this system was created just because it's a game. Loafer then asks if they need to find the medicine now and wonders if they should just pick herbs or something. Kong thinks to himself that he'll probably have to try it out personally to understand just how strong a hero grade reward really is. But suddenly, he pauses and says something feels off. Loafer gets concerned and asks what's wrong, wondering if he's sick. Kong quickly says no, his mom is here, and just like that, he logs out of the game, leaving Loafer alone midstream. Loafer keeps calling out to him, confused, while the chat bursts into laughter, spamming messages about his mom. Back in the real world, Kong immediately calls out to his mom, saying she's home and that he has something important to do right now. His mom looks at him suspiciously and asks why the door was locked, pointing out that he's never done that before. Kong apologizes awkwardly. She questions him again, and he quickly explains, pointing at the console. He says she knows Yun-Woo and that he gave him a discharge gift. He was just trying it out, and Yun-Woo asked him to play a game with him after his discharge. Something called record or whatever. He adds that she probably knows about it too, then tells her to take off her bag so he can put it away. Mom says it's always on the news and tells him not to play for too long. Kong replies that he'll only play a little in his free time anyway, since his internship starts tomorrow. Mom pauses and asks about the internship, surprised he actually did that. Kong says he needs at least 1 line on his resume. Before he can finish, she smacks him. She scolds him for not telling her and asks why on earth he kept it a secret. Kong says she would have stopped him, right? That just earns him another smack. She fires back, asking what kind of parent would stop their kid from working, especially right after discharge and starting the very next day. Kong thinks to himself that this is harder than fighting a martial arts master. Then he explains properly, saying that when he returns to school, it'll already be his graduation semester, so he needs to get a job soon. Hearing that, his mom quiets down. She's still worried, but after a moment, she asks if the company is in Songdo. She tells him he'll have to wake up early and reminds him not to skip breakfast, pointing out that he skipped it today too. Kong tries to justify it, saying Yun-Woo brought him a chocolate parfait. Mom immediately shuts that down, asking if that's supposed to be an excuse. Then she says she's going inside and tells him good luck. Now alone, Kong just sighs and calls out to his mom softly. Then he thinks about how he was in the middle of streaming, but since it's his first day as an intern tomorrow, he should sleep early. He feels a bit bad for Yun-Woo. Meanwhile, back in the game, Yun-Woo is completely losing it. He's basically crying and shouting while the chat goes crazy. Some viewers are saying this might be the start of him blowing up. Others are still obsessing over Absel, calling her their wife. Someone jokes they're the mayor and heard the rumors. Others demand compensation or try to figure out what just happened, calling it a hotspot moment. Some say they should have known from the stat, saying it looks like someone is messing around with a single quest window screenshot and asking if Loafer is behind it. Others mock it, saying the Photoshop skills are the real glitch, and laughing at the idea that anyone would believe it. But not everyone agrees. Some people insist it's real and tell others to check the stream themselves. One particular viewer, Kim Jae-ha, who works in the RP department at a small-scale workshop, isn't buying any of it. He thinks this isn't even funny and questions who would believe something like this just because a hidden quest appeared once. He assumes it's just another attempt by streamers to go viral. He looks into Loafer but doesn't find anything meaningful, only monster names. Then he notices the name Black Dragon and immediately judges it as edgy. He even mocks the situation, pointing out that the guy got shut down by his mom midstream. Still, curiosity gets the better of him, and he decides he'll check it out himself. Back in the stream, Loafer is getting flooded with questions. People ask how old Black Dragon is and joke about whether he's a middle schooler. Loafer quickly clarifies that both of them have finished military service, and that he was actually the senior. He adds that his Hyung is just a really devoted son. Then Loafer notices something strange. The viewer count is skyrocketing. He's confused about what's happening, while the chat keeps asking where Black Dragon went. After checking, he realizes their post made it onto a major RPG community. The chat goes crazy, with people saying his small stream just went mainstream. Loafer's brain basically short-circuits. He keeps trying to call Kong, desperately hoping he picks up. Finally, a message comes through from Kong, apologizing for leaving early and explaining that tomorrow is his first day of work, so he has to sleep. Then another message follows, saying he'll leave a hint instead. Loafer reads it and turns back to the stream, telling everyone that since his Hyung can't come back due to personal reasons, he left behind a gift, but he's not sure if he should show it. The chat immediately starts spamming, begging him to show it, asking what it is, telling him to hurry, saying they're getting dizzy waiting. So Loafer finally gives in and shares the message from Black Dragon. It says that the cure for Absel's quest can be obtained from bomb slimes, and that if they clear it before he gets back, he'll give even more special info, so they should keep an eye out. The next day, Kong looks at his phone and says it's time, telling himself to give it his all today. At ENK Technologies, 4th floor, he walks in and greets everyone, saying he's the new intern starting today. But inside, it's complete chaos. People are shouting about who went to the lab yesterday. Others are yelling that revisions haven't been applied yet and need to be checked immediately. One employee grabs a file, scans it, and gets annoyed, saying an intern was supposed to come today and questioning whether HR even does their job, mentioning he already brought this up yesterday. Then he calls out to Lee Min-ho, telling him to take the intern to the conference room and set it up. Lee responds immediately and introduces himself to Kong, saying if there's anything he doesn't know, he should just ask. As they walk, Lee tells Kong to put his bag down and follow him, saying he'll explain his desk and contract papers later. When they reach the conference room, Lee tells him to start by clearing the whiteboard. Kong agrees and gets to work. While he's cleaning, another guy walks in, confused, asking why there are 2 of them today and who he is. Lee quickly explains that this is the intern he reported a few days ago. Kong politely greets him and bows, saying he'll work hard and learn as much as he can during his internship. But the team leader barely reacts. He casually says there's no need to work hard, just do what he's told. Kong goes quiet after hearing that. Once he finishes cleaning, the leader tells him he can leave. As Kong walks out, he thinks to himself that he can already see what kind of future this company has. He figures he'll just have to learn whatever he can on his own while he's here. Still, he admits it's better than rolling around in that other world. Later, he logs back into the game and says he's back. He apologizes for not seeing any messages and explains that his first day was seriously hectic. Loafer, relieved and excited, tells him it's okay. Kong looks at Loafer and asks what's with that face. Loafer snaps back, asking what's wrong with his face. Kong says it looks like it's about to rot. Suddenly, Loafer explodes with excitement, shouting that they hit the jackpot and telling him to look at the viewer count. It's over 5,000. He announces to the stream that they're officially starting the Absel quest. Kong asks if anyone has succeeded yet. Loafer says no one has done it so far. The chat immediately reacts, pointing out that Kong is smiling and teasing Loafer for not being able to do it either. Others question if this is even possible or if it's all a lie, warning that there'll be consequences if it is. Kong fires back, saying they all lack imagination. That just triggers the chat even more. People start saying he's triggered, while Kong doubles down, telling them they need to show more creativity. The chat claps back instantly, joking about getting creative with insults and saying they're only holding back because they need the walkthrough. Kong decides to take control and says he'll show them himself, telling everyone to follow closely. He starts by saying they need to head to the main gate of the city walls. Loafer, still suspicious, asks again if he's really a newbie and says he needs to explain himself properly. Kong sticks to his story, saying he's read a lot of fantasy novels and figured that in a game with this much freedom, anything should be possible. Some people in the chat call that nonsense, while others say they might as well trust him for now since they've got time anyway. As they move forward, Kong notices a crowd gathering and asks what's going on. Loafer says it looks like people gathered after seeing the community post. Then suddenly, someone shouts that the Vanguard is here. Others repeat it, saying the Vanguard has arrived. Kong wonders what they mean by the Vanguard, and then, through the crowd, they see a group of people walking forward. As the group walks in, the chat goes wild, saying they can't believe the Vanguard is actually here and that things are getting insane. Some point out there's even a ranger, wondering if the one in the middle is a real one. Others confirm it, saying that Bao gives it away and that they came all the way for the Absel quest since the hero grade reward makes it worth it. Loafer leans in and says it really is the Vanguard, adding that the news about Kang's discovery spread way further than he expected. Kong asks what the Vanguard even is. Loafer explains that he wouldn't know since he's a newbie. He says the top 10,000 rankers are called the Vanguard, ranked based on points from level, proficiency, story progress, and more. Out of 300 million players worldwide, only 10,000 make it, and only about 500 of them are in Korea. Kong looks at them and asks if those guys haven't even learned magic yet, since some of them look like mages. Loafer explains that most of them skip magic early on to prioritize growth because of how hard it is to build proficiency. A lot of players just pick mage avatars for the aesthetics. As Kong studies them more closely, his eyes land on the bow one of them is carrying. He recognizes it instantly and thinks it's the bow of the golden bird, remembering it as the work of a highly highly skilled artisan. Then Kong points out that even those guys haven't been able to clear the Absel quest. Loafer adds that most of the Vanguard are backed by corporations. Kong realizes what that means. Corporate-sponsored players getting full support to clear RP. Even without the whole ownership rights issue, RP itself is worth massive money. Just then, someone from the crowd approaches Kong and asks if he's Black Dragon and whether he's streaming right now, pressing him about when he's going to show how to clear the quest. Kong replies that they're about to start soon. Another person immediately calls it a lie, saying he told everyone it was fake. But someone else pushes back, saying they should at least give him a chance. Then another person jumps in, insulting someone for falling for a scam before and getting stripped down to nothing. That sparks an argument and they start fighting right there. Kong ignores the chaos and calmly says they should head toward the sea for now. Loafer immediately points out that bomb slimes are in the forest on the opposite side. But Kong calmly says he needs a fishing rod to make the medicine, even smiling a little. Loafer is completely thrown off, repeating a fishing rod, while the chat gets confused too. People start questioning why this suddenly turned into life skill content when the hint was clearly bomb slimes. Others wonder if fish are involved now and say they have no idea where he's going with this. Then a donation pops up. Coco sends 1,001. At the same time, someone in chat says the price of fish in Adelon is skyrocketing. Another points out that scalpers are reacting in real time while watching the stream. Kong quietly laughs to himself, thinking that none of these people have any idea what's really going on. Loafer, still confused, asks if the ingredient for the medicine is found in the sea. Kong just gives a vague response, saying he wonders. Trying to stay calm, he keeps playing it cool. But Loafer starts panicking, almost on the verge of tears, asking if Kong is lying. He says if this turns out to be fake, he might have to quit streaming. The chat piles on, joking that this is an epic prank and saying Loafer is speedrunning his own downfall. Kong reassures him, telling him to trust him, but first, he needs a fishing rod. Then he casually asks Loafer to lend him 70,000 gold. That completely throws everyone off. The chat explodes, questioning how all that buildup led to him asking for money. The crowd around them also reacts loudly. Kong, standing a bit away, notices the crowd getting even bigger. He tells Loafer he'll pay him back soon and to stop making that face. Loafer says it's not about the money. He just has no idea what Kong is planning to do with a fishing rod. Still, he agrees and says he doesn't need to pay him back. As Kong looks around, he suddenly spots someone and says that's the one. They see a lone guy fishing. The chat identifies him as Eldrock, joking that if you fish next to him, you start feeling a sense of inner peace. Others mention his character setting, that he's hard of hearing. Kong walks up and greets him, calling him old man, but gets no response. He then says he wants to buy the fishing rod. The man turns and mishears him, asking if he wants to buy a hot rod. Kong sighs and says he knows he can hear him, offering 50,000 gold. The chat reacts, joking that even in a game he should respect his elders. The old man stays silent for a moment, then replies firmly, no chance, 100,000. Now even the chat is confused, questioning the old man's reaction. Then Kong calmly says they'll do 60,000, thinking to himself that the old man hasn't changed at all. The crowd immediately starts shouting over him, saying 60,000 won't even cover the cost and telling him to make it 90,000. Kong suddenly flips it and says they should just go with 50,000 instead. That actually makes the old man react. The chat goes wild, throwing random prices and not understanding this negotiation at all. Kong sticks to it and repeats 50,000. The old man gets annoyed and calls him a little rascal, asking if he's trying to rip off an old man. Hearing him swear like that, Kong thinks back to the past, remembering the times they used to fish together and how sharp this old man always was. After a moment, the old man gives in, saying fine, have it your way. Kong happily takes the rod and calls it a great deal, thanking the old man. The chat instantly boos him, calling him trash and sarcastically saying he really respects elders. Some even accuse him of basically scamming Loafer out of 10,000 gold. The old man tells him to take it and get lost. Loafer, watching all this, says Kong might actually be cut out for streaming. Kong asks why. Loafer explains it's because of how he built everything up, saying he'd show something amazing, only to end up using a fishing rod in a field of bomb slimes. The chat piles on again, calling him a clown and joking that he's about to hook Loafer next. Some tell others to chill with the trash talk. Loafer then suggests trying actual role-playing within RP. Kong immediately shuts it down, saying he doesn't even know what that is and isn't doing it. The chat laughs, saying it's RP inside RP and joking that the stream is ruined. Then someone asks what bomb slimes even are. Loafer explains that they're extremely sensitive. If you touch them, they explode. If you attack from a distance, they still explode. Even making eye contact can trigger them to blow up. The chat adds that they don't even drop anything when they explode, calling them one of the worst mobs ever. They wonder how Kong plans to do anything against them with just a fishing rod. But Kong already knows what he's doing. He walks toward the bomb slimes, scanning the area, and thinks he found the perfect spot. Then he casts the line with the fishing rod and notes that the sensitivity feels a bit different from reality, meaning he'll need to adjust. As the slime turns toward him, Kong casually says hey. Loafer suddenly notices something and says he thinks people are following them. At the same time, another donation notification pops up. Kong stays calm and says he already knew. They've been followed ever since they left the city, and it's not just one team but several groups. Then he asks Loafer if he can control the screen settings for a second. As soon as he gets access, he lets out a small laugh and tells everyone that they're about to have a brief moment of technical difficulties. The chat instantly reacts with confusion, asking what's going on, and Kong, with a mischievous thought, wonders if he should mess with them a little. Kong thinks back to his time in the military. He remembers how much he loved fantasy, but no one in his unit shared that interest. He spent his time rereading the same book over and over until the pages were practically worn out. Then a new recruit arrived. The guy casually asked if he knew that novel. Kong said yes and even mentioned his favorite part. But then, even though Kong had read it countless times, the new guy started pointing out details he had never even noticed before. Kong remembers being genuinely impressed, thinking the guy was amazing, felt like he had actually lived in that world. Time passed, and after experiencing a real alternate world himself, something even more vivid than reality, Kong realized something. The moment he saw RP being advertised after his discharge, he knew that if he played it with that guy, it would be insanely fun. Back in the present, Loafer suddenly points out that only his screen is being broadcast right now. Kong casually replies that it's fine for now, while thinking they should just pretend to focus on the slimes. Loafer takes the opportunity to hype the stream, telling everyone to follow while Black Dragon adjusts his screen. The chat, however, gets annoyed, complaining about not being able to see Kang's perspective and threatening to unfollow if nothing happens. Kong thinks to himself that it must be frustrating for them to only watch through Yun Wu's screen. On top of that, the other groups chasing them are probably closing in. He realizes this tense standoff won't last much longer. Sooner or later, someone is going to make a move. Then, as he glances back, he sees it, a group approaching. Just as he expected, someone finally takes action. Kong prepares himself. Suddenly, the stream switches back. The chat immediately reacts, confused about why he's waving the fishing rod around. But Kong already knows what he's doing. He thinks to himself that there's a reason he bought that fishing rod from the old man. The hook is special. It's sharp enough that bomb slimes don't react to it at first, and when he activates it, spikes shoot out from the tip, instantly grabbing the target. Then, when the slime explodes, he can actually control the explosion, using it to affect other slimes caught in the blast. Now everything is set. The other adventurers who got impatient suddenly panic. One of them shouts that they should fall back, while another is confused. But it's already too late. The slimes start reacting, moving toward them as they scream and try to run. No matter how far they go, they get caught in the chain of explosions. Loafer is stunned, just saying wow. Kong calmly comments that this neatly takes care of the stream snipers. The chat goes crazy, calling him insane. Some realize what just happened, that he separated real viewers from stream snipers. Others even joke that his earlier wave was basically a goodbye wave to them. Then Kong casually says they should get down to business. The chat is still confused, asking if all the slimes didn't just blow up. But then someone notices something different. One slime has a slightly yellow color. Kong hooks it, pulls it in, and stores it in a bag, saying the material has been secured. The chat immediately questions it, asking why it didn't explode, wondering if it's a bug or something special because of the color. Kong explains that it's a dud slime. When you wipe out a group of bomb slimes all at once, there's a chance that the remaining ones mutate into dud slimes. Loafer asks if following these steps will let him clear the quest too, pointing out that everyone will try copying this now. Kong says that's the point. He's showing everyone so they can clear it as well. But in his mind, he knows it won't be that simple. Controlling those explosions isn't something just anyone can do. He tells Loafer it's time to head to Absel. Meanwhile, Others who tried copying the method are exhausted and frustrated, saying they almost got wiped out. Kim Jae-ha watches all this and starts overthinking. He concludes Kong isn't just some random newbie, but someone backed by a major corporation. He assumes a huge company is using him as a front to manipulate players and hide something big. Still, Kim decides that no matter what, he has to clear the Absel quest to meet his monthly quota. But that doesn't go as planned. When he brings the result to Absel, she looks at it in disgust and asks what exactly he just brought her. She calls it disgusting sludge and rejects it as medicine. The chat immediately reacts, saying that looks like poison and that it's definitely not medicine. Kong quietly asks if it's really that bad, while Loafer just stays completely silent, not even trying to defend it. Absel, clearly unimpressed, says she'll just compensate him for Yolio's situation with money and tells him to leave. Kong, however, pushes back, saying she must not be that desperate. That instantly irritates her. She snaps at him, saying he doesn't know anything and asking how he dares to say something like that. And then, before she can stop herself, she drinks it. Kong watches and internally calls it garbage. The chat loses it, pointing out how honest Loafer's expression is, saying his face clearly shows he thinks it's trash. Some even joke that Black Dragon is basically trolling at this point. Absel suddenly reacts, asking if he really just made her drink that. She looks like she's about to throw up, and then she actually does. Kong, completely unfazed, says it seems effective. Loafer, still shocked, points out that she's literally throwing up. Absel comes back furious, demanding to know what he just did and calling him a freak. But Kong calmly explains that something like a seed just came out, and that was the real cause of the illness. Kong says that what just came out is the true identity of the illness both she and her mother were suffering from. Absel is shocked and asks what he means. Kong explains it plainly, that the thing she just threw up was the cause. Then he thinks to himself that she had been sick too, and he noticed it the very first time he saw her. He realizes she probably endured it in silence, afraid her mother would worry, and also afraid that people like Yolio would exploit it. As Absel quietly asks how he knew, Kong reflects that knowing how she felt, he can't even bring himself to call her foolish. Then he explains properly. He says what she ingested was a parasitic seed from the far south. It attaches itself to the stomach and grows inside the body. She likely got it from eating imported ingredients. He continues, explaining that bomb slime mucus is the only thing that can detach it. That's why they needed a dud slime, a bomb slime without the explosive trait, leaving only the mucus and vomiting toxins. Once the seed is expelled, the problem is solved. It's not even really a disease. Absel repeats in disbelief, asking if all she had to do was throw it up. Kong confirms that once it's out, there's no need for medicine anymore. Then he tells her to hurry and go check on her mother. Absel thinks to herself that even though this is a game world, he hasn't changed at all. She remembers how he was, rough with his words, but always someone who stood by her side and cared more about others than himself. She quietly wishes for his happiness. A cutscene begins. Absel rushes to her mother and tells her to drink the medicine. Her mother hesitates but takes it. Moments later, she throws up and large seeds spill out. Loafer, watching this, is completely emotional. Absel's mother, now furious, talks about how much she was scammed by fake doctors and swears she won't let them get away with it. The chat reacts in disbelief, saying they didn't even think Absel could smile. Some point out that it's because players kept sending her to prison before. Kong quietly says it's been a while since he's seen her smile. Absel thanks him sincerely. The chat instantly turns chaotic again, with people calling her beautiful, celebrating the success, and jokingly claiming she's their wife now. Kong, confused by the reactions, asks what they've even been doing. Absel tells him that both she and her mother are alive thanks to him, so of course she needs to reward him. Then she hands him the spell book he was looking for. Kong thanks her, but Absel says she's the one who should be thanking him. Loafer, completely hyped, calls Kong the best and asks if he can just touch the spell book once. Kong immediately shuts that down, saying it's his. Then Kong says they should move on to the next quest. But Absel stops him, asking where he thinks he's going, saying she still has more to give him. She pulls out a bag. Loafer, watching this, says it feels like she's giving way more than the original reward. Then the system notification appears. First clear reward is being issued. The rewards get upgraded. Asterisk gold increases from 2,000 to 4,000. Asterisk stat points go from +3 to +5 with an additional +2 bonus. Asterisk experience increases by +200. Asterisk he levels up, gaining +5 more stat points. Asterisk Absel's fireball spell book gets upgraded. And not just upgraded, it becomes heroic grade, even reaching unique level. Even Kong is genuinely surprised by how massive the rewards turned out to be. Kong thinks to himself that he thought making Absel happy would be enough, but that thought changes the moment he sees the words first clear. Even Loafer is stunned, and the chat absolutely explodes. No one can believe what they're seeing. People keep asking if that's really a first clear reward, saying it's insane and must be a bug. Some even ask if there's a way to fix it. Kong just lets out a small laugh, saying he had no idea something like this even existed. Loafer, still in shock, says the first clear reward is a unique grimoire and calls it amazing. But Kong stays quiet. Loafer nudges him, whispering to say something to the viewers, then quickly turns back to the stream and tries to calm everyone down, saying they honestly didn't know about this either. But the chat is moving so fast he can barely keep up. He admits things are getting chaotic. Then Absel suddenly says there's still more and hands over another item. Kong is surprised and asks if she still has more to give. A new notification appears. Achievement unlocked. Absel's first savior. Rewards, invitation ×1, stat points +1. Absel explains it's an introduction to a blacksmith shop and tells him to go there if he needs weapons. Kong repeats the blacksmith, while Loafer points out that Kong doesn't even have proper gear and that his equipment got wrecked while dealing with the bomb slimes. Absel then complains about the rotten smell, and Kong quickly defends himself, saying it's not him, it was the bomb slime. She fires back, saying he's the one who made her eat that disgusting thing in the first place. But despite that, she thanks him sincerely for everything. The chat instantly goes back to chaos, calling her cute and jokingly claiming she's their wife again. Absel tells Kong to come see her anytime if he needs help. The chat starts saying they're logging back into the game right now to try it themselves. Kong also says alright. Later, outside, Kong asks what they should do next. Loafer explains that there's no fixed route in RP. It's a full open world. Everyone starts in Adelon, but after that, you can go anywhere. He says the freedom is great, but if you wander without direction, you can easily get stuck in high-level areas, and a lot of players struggle to escape those situations. Then he brings up something else. RP is famous for its character customization, and he's about to question Kong about why Kong thinks he'll just say it's because of the goddess. Then he tells Loafer to look at him. Loafer proudly shows off his character, saying to look closely. It's realistic but still beautiful, and he spent 5 whole hours sculpting the face. Kong just thinks, yeah. The chat immediately clowns him, asking if he really spent 5 hours on that. Loafer adds that in this game you can even choose your gender, so appearances can be misleading. Kong zones out a bit, thinking he'll have to decide his next move on his own. As he's thinking about where to go next, something suddenly happens. A huge donation pops up. Respect for Taste donates 50,000 won, saying they want to see a more angry Absel. Kong is surprised, repeating the amount in disbelief. Loafer completely loses it, shouting in excitement and thanking the donor loudly. Then he jokingly calculates his cut, saying he'll get half. And then it doesn't stop. More donations start pouring in, 10,000, 30,000, even 100,000 won. Messages come with them, hyping Kong, praising his play, and even arguing about elements like fire magic. Loafer is overwhelmed, reacting to each one, barely able to keep up. He points out that the viewer count has skyrocketed to 8,000. The chat reacts too, shocked at how fast it's growing. Some even complain that the stream used to be a hidden gem and now it's blowing up. Kong quietly processes everything. They just cleared one quest, and already there are 8,000 viewers watching. He thanks everyone for the donations. The chat asks for reactions, and Loafer jumps in, saying of course he'll deliver. But Kong is thinking deeper. He realizes that if things keep going like this, he might actually be able to make real money from this. Enough to finally repay his mother. Then an old memory surfaces. Back when the goddess wanted to pressure him, she showed him the flow of time in the real world. He remembers seeing posters everywhere, with his face on them. Missing person. Kong says that his mother gave up everything just to find him, so from now on, he's going to make her happy. Loafer, still hyped, tells him to use the grimoire since everyone's waiting. Kong agrees and grabs the book, but the moment he does, it vanishes. A notification appears. Fireball, unique grade. A fire element attack spell that incinerates everything with a massive explosion. Kong reacts, saying it feels anticlimactic and way too easy compared to how much he struggled before. Loafer is amazed, saying it feels like instructions are being poured directly into his head. Kong, confused, says he didn't feel anything like that. Loafer gets confused too. Kong pauses, then suddenly pretends it's kicking in late, joking that maybe there's just a delay. Loafer goes along with it, saying maybe unique grade spells take longer to process. But internally, Kong is shaken. He realizes something is off. He definitely learned the spell, but not through the system. That's when it hits him. What he learned in that other world is carrying over here. So that's what the existing character meant. Loafer urges him to hurry up and use it since the viewers are waiting. Kong agrees and looks at a nearby rock. He focuses, gathering energy into his palm. A fireball forms. He launches it forward, and it explodes, burning everything in its path. The power is overwhelming. Loafer is blown away, calling him amazing. Someone nearby comments that it's not bad for a rank 1. Then suddenly, Kong notices someone and freezes those eyes. A massive hand reaches out toward him. In that instant, he's hit with intense flashbacks. A notification appears. Record number 55 activated. Asterisk proficiency in all experienced skills increases extremely quickly. Asterisk effects are amplified depending on experience level. Asterisk keyword unlocked. Spirit. Kong feels drained, almost exhausted, and in his mind, one thought surfaces again. That damn goddess. Kong says it's his first time using magic and the rank is high, so it probably took a toll on him. He says he wants to see what normal rank magic looks like and asks Loafer to show him. Loafer hesitates, asking if he really wants to see it. Kong insists he's just curious. Loafer finally gives in and tells him not to laugh. Then he casts a fireball, and it's tiny, just a small poof. Kong pauses after seeing it and says it's cool in its own way. Loafer immediately gets annoyed, saying he'd rather Kong just insult him properly. Kong admits it's a bit puny for magic. Loafer snaps back, saying he told him from the start. Magic proficiency is insanely hard to level, yet Kong got a unique rank right away, which is totally unfair. The chat joins in, saying normal magic is basically only good for lighting campfires and calling Kong a talent monster. Kong says he didn't expect things to turn out like this either. But in his mind, he realizes something important. The difference isn't just rank, it's proficiency too, and that gap must be massive. Then he tries to explain. He tells Loafer he's misunderstanding magic. The chat immediately starts clowning him, saying he's acting too deep and that his immersion is crazy, especially coming from a supposed newbie. But Kong keeps going. He explains that magic isn't something you just click and use. It might look like that because of spell books, but the real issue is more fundamental. Then he drops it. Magic is basically math. The chat reacts instantly, mocking him again. Kong continues anyway, saying incantations and mana manipulation need to be calculated step by step, and that rank alone doesn't define everything. He adds that while having a unique rank is great, he doesn't plan to rely on magic as his main skill. He says magic's biggest strength is convenience, not raw power in his case. Loafer just stares at him and asks if he really made his character yesterday. The chat gets even more sarcastic, saying thanks for the lecture, calling him edgy, and mocking him for not even planning to use a unique ranked skill. Some say his ego is out of control. Kong gets irritated and snaps back, asking what any of them even know about magic. The chat fires right back, asking if he's secretly a mage in real life. Another viewer reacts dramatically, and Kong, still fired up, says they shouldn't expect even a drop of info from him anymore. Loafer quickly tries to calm him down, telling him to relax. Then suddenly, another donation hits. Small Spender sends 77,777 won and tells him to calm down, calling him "Oh mage." Both Kong and Loafer instantly go quiet. Kang's tone completely changes as he politely says he shouldn't have. Loafer also switches up, saying he was just exaggerating for the stream. The chat immediately notices the shift, joking that money really is the best therapy. Kong himself realizes it too, thinking about how his anger just disappeared like magic and wondering if he's always been this money-minded. Then he refocuses and says he already has a place in mind for where to go next. They arrive at a small hut. Kong looks at it and says it's been a while. Loafer asks if they're not doing the main story, but Kong says that can wait. He wants to pick up some skills first. They enter, and even Loafer comments on how creepy the place feels. Inside, they meet the hunter NPC, Rickner. Rickner notices them and asks what they want. Kong says he came to learn archery. Rickner asks if he has grit. The chat immediately reacts, calling him the grit-obsessed guy, and warning that if Kong says no, he'll get kicked out instantly. Kong confidently says he has plenty, both grit and skill. Rickner responds that he talks big and presents a simple test. A quest pops up. Pass the test by scoring at least 200 points out of 30 shots. Bullseye gives 10 points. Rewards include gold, a basic archery manual, a stat point, and experience. At the range, Kong confirms the rules: 30 tries, 200 points needed. Rickner confirms. Loafer suggests he should at least invest some stat points into agility first since it'll be difficult otherwise. But Kong refuses, saying he's fine as he is. He prepares to shoot, then does something completely unexpected. He fires the arrow straight up into the sky. The arrow arcs down toward the target, but it misses. Loafer tells him he should have put points into agility. Kong brushes it off, saying it's fine. He's got the hang of it it now. The chat immediately jokes that Black Dragon is human after all. Loafer shrugs and tells him to go ahead then. But suddenly, something changes. The next arrow hits the target cleanly. Loafer freezes, then reacts in shock, asking what that even was. Kong keeps going. Arrow after arrow flies, 7 points, 10 points, 10 points, and then it gets even crazier. Out of the remaining 26 shots, every single one lands perfectly. Bullseyes, clean hits, no hesitation. Loafer completely loses it, shouting in disbelief as Kong keeps firing without missing. By the end, Kong racks up a total of 287 points, far beyond what's required. It's something that shouldn't even be possible, especially with just level 2 RP gear. But Kong pulls it off like it's nothing. Later, after receiving the rewards, the scene shifts. A mysterious figure is seen playing with coins, clearly bored. She complains that everything is dull, and that there's nothing fun left to do except dealing with people who guard their money like it's a public portal. Then she notices something. A few people are approaching. She pauses and wonders who they are, and questions what kind of fools would come looking for her on their own. Loafer walks in, still grinning, and says he just can't stop smiling. Kong tells him he looks way too excited. Loafer doesn't even deny it. He says of course he is. That performance was insane. He asks Kong if he did archery in school or something. Kong immediately shuts that down, saying no way. Loafer keeps going, saying at this rate they're going to be swimming in money. He reveals he even set up a betting pool, and since nobody believed Kong would be that good, they hit a massive underdog jackpot. He adds it'd be amazing if they could pull off something like that regularly. Kong just says alright. Meanwhile, the chat reminds Loafer that the stream is still on and everyone can hear everything, jokingly telling him to be careful. Loafer ignores it and asks where they're heading next. Kong says he's going to learn swordsmanship, but first, he needs the swiftness skill. Loafer is immediately confused, asking about swiftness. The chat jumps in too, saying a skill like that exists but it's trash. Loafer agrees, saying it's basically a top-tier useless skill. Kong tells him to stop whining and just follow him, then walks ahead. Loafer panics and runs after him. As they approach, Loafer points out the NPC Leah. He explains that people avoid the swiftness skill because her quest is ridiculously hard compared to how mediocre the skill is. He asks if Kong is really sure about this. Kong doesn't answer, just keeps walking forward. Leah approaches them. Kong tells her he's here to learn what she does best. Leah smirks, saying she likes his attitude, and then instantly snatches his bag and dashes away. She mocks him, saying he's way too slow. Then she calls it tuition, saying 5,000 gold is a steal, and asks why he's not reacting. Kong stays calm and tells her that if it's tuition, she should just teach him already. In his mind, though, he's thinking something else entirely, that compared to how much she's stolen from him across 55 regressions, this amount is nothing. Leah frowns, saying she doesn't like him. Then she declares class has started and tells him to catch her, before sprinting off again. A quest window appears. Leah's test. Find Leah within the time limit after she runs away. Rewards asterisk. Asterisk Leah's swiftness skill book. Rank/grade unknown. Asterisk stat point ×1. Asterisk experience ×100. The chase begins. Kong looks at the chat and thinks there's no way to catch Leah by chasing her normally. He remembers how it used to work. You'd have to pay a total of 25,000 gold and sit through 5 separate 3-hour timers, wasting 15 hours just to clear it, and you couldn't even do other quests during that time. Meanwhile, Loafer is panicking in the background, shouting about his gold being stolen too. Kong calmly thinks through it. If catching her directly is impossible, then he just needs someone who can. The chat is confused, asking what the plan even is. Kong says it's simply they're gonna catch Leah. Loafer immediately objects, reminding him that no one has ever cleared it that way. But Kong already has a different approach. He heads back to Absel. Absel is surprised and asks why he wants her to find Leah, and how he even knows they're related. Kong casually lies, saying it's common knowledge in the hideout streets. Absel sighs but agrees to help. Loafer is shocked, realizing they're actually sisters. Kong doubles down on the lie, saying he saw graffiti about Leah earlier. The chat goes crazy trying to verify it, rewinding and checking, but no one can find anything. Some even joke that Kong has eagle eyes, while others say that must be why he's so good with a bow. Kong just tells them they should pay more attention to their surroundings. Then he drops the real kicker. If they had sent Absel to prison earlier like everyone else, this route wouldn't even be possible. The chat groans, realizing they locked themselves out of this method. Some curse Yolio again. Absel tells Kong to follow her. They arrive at a quiet spot. Leah is there, casually playing with a cat, completely relaxed. She laughs to herself, saying there's no way he'll ever find her, and that he's probably already given up. Then, a voice calls out from behind. Leah freezes. She turns around. Sis! Before she can react, she realizes something's wrong. She looks around, and then she sees him. Kong is already there. Leah immediately calls it cheating, asking how he brought her sister there. Kong calmly says she told him to use any means necessary, and that he happens to have some history with her sister. Absel steps in and tells Leah they need to talk. Leah tries to brush it off, but Absel doesn't let it slide. She scolds her again for going around picking people's pockets, warning her that one day she'll mess with the wrong person, like Yolio, and get into serious trouble. Leah finally backs down and apologizes. Absel sighs and tells her to come back to the shop later, warning her not to get distracted again or she'll be in even bigger trouble. Leah agrees. Kong thanks Absel and she leaves. Leah looks at Kong and says she's never met anyone like him. But a deal is a deal. She hands over the reward. A notification appears. Quest complete. Reward upgraded to maximum value based on clear time. Asterisk Leah's swiftness skill book. Rank 1 unique. Asterisk stat points times 3. Asterisk experience times 500. The chat absolutely explodes again, screaming about another unique reward and calling it unfair. Leah, clearly done with everything, says she's leaving and hopes they never meet again, then disappears. Kong casually says yeah, see you later. Loafer finally catches up, completely out of breath, asking if it's already over. Kong says it's fine, the camera followed everything perfectly, and shows off the result. Unique grade again. Loafer is stunned, repeating it in disbelief. The chat starts clowning him again, saying the viewers knew before the streamer did, and joking that Loafer is basically auto-farming his own stream. Kong ignores all that and says it's time for the next step. Now they're going to learn swordsmanship. As Kong activates the swiftness skill, he notices the book gets consumed. He thinks he's still not used to this system. Loafer brings up the chat, saying the viewers are asking why he even learned swiftness. Kong answers simply, it should be obvious. If two people are running at the same speed, then even a slight boost lets one win. The chat jokes, saying they're betting on horse number 1. Kong continues explaining that even a tiny advantage matters. But Loafer points out that swiftness barely has any noticeable effect, even at unique grade. Kong stays quiet, thinking that after dying over 50 times, even the smallest difference matters. Loafer then tries to flex, saying he's actually the senior when it comes to swordsmanship, rank 2 with an advanced grade. The chat immediately roasts him, saying that's just average for casual players and calling him pathetic. Kong reads it out loud, making it worse. Loafer gets embarrassed and says he just wanted to show off a bit. Kong starts thinking more deeply. Most players, including Loafer, are following the same general route, guided by beginner guides. But that's exactly the problem. Because of Yolio's scam, no one interacted with Absel properly. She ended up getting removed, and Leah was ignored as well. That means an entire path of progression was basically hidden from the player base. In a game with this much freedom, people don't even know which path is correct. But Kong realizes something important. The fact that he cleared Absel and Leah's quests first means his past experiences are guiding him toward the right path. So he makes a decision. He's gonna clear RP his own way. Whatever the goddess is planning, he's done being her puppet. Later, they continue walking. Kong comments that the swordsman NPC they're looking for is surprisingly far away. Loafer explains that it's because the guy is designed as a reclusive swordsman. Then he points ahead. They've finally arrived. Kong calls out, saying they came to learn swordsmanship. The swordsman says nothing, just stares at them. Loafer thinks he's just as intimidating as ever. Then the man starts walking toward them. This is Balder, the swordsmanship NPC. Without wasting a second, Balder gives a simple instruction. Swing the wooden sword until he tells him to stop, and use the one placed behind them. No long explanations needed. Kong immediately picks up the wooden sword. Loafer recalls how the quest works. It has 2 stages. Asterisk stage 1, repeated swings. Asterisk stage 2, sparring. He asks the chat how long it took them to clear it. The responses vary. Some say an hour and a half, others over 2 hours. No one knows the exact criteria. But one thing is clear, if you mess with Balder, you're done. The chat starts sharing clips of players getting wrecked by him, even joking about someone who tried to act tough and got destroyed. Loafer realizes something scary. This NPC can actually fight back like a real player. The chat laughs, saying the AI is insane and joking that the human era is over. Then things escalate. Viewers start placing bets. A mission gets registered, huge amounts of money on whether Kong can clear it under 25 minutes. More donations stack on top. Within moments, the total prize pool crosses 800,001. Loafer is shocked, telling Kong the stakes just exploded and asking if he can do it. Kong calmly points out that this is twice the difficulty worthy of the archery test. Then he focuses. In his mind, he breaks it down. The key isn't the number of swings or how long it takes. From the very beginning, Balder never expected much from beginners. Most players come in thinking swords are just the standard choice, nothing special, just basic. And that mindset is exactly why they fail. Kong realizes something crucial. What Balder cares about isn't technique or speed, but attitude. To Balder, players who treat swordsmanship like a basic, default choice must feel disrespectful. What he wants is simple, genuine resolve toward the sword. So Kong doesn't rush. He doesn't swing wildly. He focuses completely. And then Balder stops him. That's enough. The chat is confused, asking what just happened since he barely even swung. But Kong knows. It worked. A notification appears. Linked quest unlocked. Asterisk your resolve has been conveyed to Balder. Asterisk Balder acknowledges your resolve. Asterisk new objective. Win the sparring match against Balder. Asterisk difficulty adjusted based on player level and stats. Loafer gets excited, saying this is stage 2 and that the mission is basically already a success. The chat, however, is stunned. Clearing stage 1 in under a minute feels ridiculous. Some even call it invalid. Then another donation pops up. Asterisk asterisk sword god asterisk asterisk throws in more money and adds a condition. Block Balder's wooden sword twice for success, or the mission is void. Kong raises an eyebrow, asking if they're really doubling down like this. Then it escalates again. Another donation, 100,001. New condition. Block 4 times and clear the quest, and the total prize money gets doubled. If he fails, both Kong and Loafer have to jump. Loafer immediately panics, asking why he's included in this. The chat eggs him on, saying he brought this on himself. Loafer starts freaking out, saying he has a fear of heights. Meanwhile, Kong is smiling. Loafer notices and gets suspicious, asking why he's looking like that and saying something feels off. Kong calmly reassures him they're not going bungee jumping. Loafer hesitates, asking if he really means that. Kong just says one thing, trust me. A new notification suddenly pops up. Someone donates 1,000,001 to the mission, praising their friendship. Both Kong and Loafer freeze. Even the chat goes quiet for a moment before exploding, calling it insane and reacting to the huge amount. Kong quickly calculates it's now around 1.8 million won total. Balder is still standing there, watching him. Kong takes a deep breath and focuses again. This time, it's real. The duel begins. Balder moves first. Fast. Too fast. Kong immediately realizes it started. He prepares to dodge and counter at the same time. Loafer is shocked, asking if the NPC was always this aggressive. The chat agrees this feels completely different, almost like a bug. But Kong holds his ground. Another strike comes. Kong meets it. Their wooden swords clash. A heavy impact. A pure contest of strength and timing. Kong feels it instantly. His movements are slower than they should be. The game's synchronization is holding him back. Still, he adapts. He searches for openings, and then he moves. Swiftness. That tiny boost makes the difference. Balder speaks mid-fight, asking if Kong is distracted or simply pretending to be relaxed. Kong fires back, asking if it's not the same for him. The chat loses it, saying he's provoking the NPC and calling him crazy. Balder's expression changes. He admits he misjudged Kong and decides to end it. He charges in with a far more powerful attack. Kong doesn't back down. He says they'll see how it ends. The strike comes down, just barely. Kong dodges. A hair's breadth. Loafer screams in relief. The chat goes wild, calling it insanely close and praising Kang's reactions, comparing it to a hardcore Souls-like game. Now, the real fight has begun. Balder keeps attacking, faster and fiercer than before. Kong reads it instantly. He must be getting impatient. Kong should have fallen by now, but he's still holding on. The attacks keep coming, but Kong dodges again. He even laughs, pointing out that Balder's movements are getting bigger, more aggressive, but also more predictable. He steps back, watching carefully. Then he sees it. This next one is dangerous. Balder prepares his strongest strike yet and swings. Kong moves to block, but this time the wooden sword shatters. For a moment, everything freezes. Even Balder looks confused. But Kong, he smiles, because he already did it. For successful blocks. Mission success. The chat explodes. No one understands what just happened. Some panic about their money. Others question if it even counts yet. Then the system confirms it. The duel ends due to the destruction of the wooden sword. The quest ends. Mission complete. Now everyone loses their minds. They realize it actually worked. Balder, who normally crushes players, just got played. On day 2, Kong exhales, saying it was exhausting, but it feels good. Then, very practically, he asks about the mission money. Loafer says he'll calculate everything after the stream and settle it. Kong double-checks that he's actually getting paid. Loafer reassures him of course he is. Then things slow down a bit. Loafer suddenly gets curious and asks about Kang's past, what he used to do before the military. Kong pauses. In his mind, the truth flashes. 55 lives, regression, possession, reincarnation. But out loud, he just says he did a bit of this and that. The chat jumps in again, trying to guess his background: chef, assassin, hitman, special forces, even samurai. Kong just thinks how ridiculous that sounds. Then someone asks if all the mission money is really going to him. Loafer answers without hesitation, of course it is. Kong points out that their profit is supposed to be split 50 to 50, so why would he take all the money? Loafer waves it off, saying it's fine since everything was done through Kang's raw skill anyway. Kong says he appreciates that, but at least he's just glad he doesn't have to go bungee jumping anymore. The chat bursts out laughing, asking if he actually thought that was real. Kong pauses, confused, asking if it wasn't. Loafer just starts crying again. Another donation pops up. *** sword god *** sends 100,000 won, asking him to keep using the sword so they can watch and learn. Loafer immediately thanks them enthusiastically. Meanwhile, Kong looks at Balder. On the surface, he looks calm, but Kong can tell he's angry, not outwardly but suppressed. Kong thinks Balder is blaming himself for being read by a novice. Kong asks if the duel is over. Balder says yes and tells him to wait. Kong notices he's clenching his teeth, barely holding it in. Whoever comes next is going to have a bad time. Then Balder hands him the reward, a swordsmanship skill book. Kong thinks about it: magic, archery, swiftness, and now swordsmanship. That's already 4. A notification appears. Quest complete, maximum reward achieved. * 3000 gold. * basic swordsmanship training manual, rank 1 unique. * plus 5 stat points. * level up, plus 1 additional stat point. The chat completely explodes again. For unique skills already, it's unheard of. Some say swordsmanship unique alone is massive. Others report that the RP board servers are literally crashing. More donations come in. Viewers start asking for sword lessons, spamming requests. Loafer awkwardly offers to teach, mentioning he's rank 2. The chat instantly shuts him down, telling him to get out. Kong leans in and quietly tells Loafer to just give them some kind of reaction. He still has something to do. Then he turns back to Balder and says there should be something left. Balder stays silent for a moment, then finally speaks. He says he heard his master has moved to Adlin. If Kong meets him, he should show this token, then his master might at least listen. He adds one cryptic line, *, my master will be where the wind gathers. *. Kong repeats it quietly, then tells Loafer they should head back to the city. Meanwhile, Loafer is doing reactions for the stream. The chat immediately regrets it, saying their eyes are burning and they'll never ask for tutoring again. Then another donation pops up. Someone warns that players are rushing to Balder right now, and he's about to get overworked. Both Kong and Loafer go quiet. They know exactly what they just caused. Loafer asks if their next destination is Balder's master. The chat is shocked, saying they didn't even know Balder had a master. But Kong suddenly says they're stopping for today. Loafer is confused, but Kong explains he has work tomorrow and needs sleep. He says they'll continue tomorrow. Loafer agrees, saying they did run a lot today. Kong logs out. Back in the real world, Kong sighs, saying it's hot and that he's sweating. He decides to wash up and sleep, wondering if he focused too hard during the swordsmanship mission. Then his phone rings. A message from Loafer. He says Kong did great today and that he's sending the payment right away before going to sleep. Kong casually checks and freezes. 3,000,000,001 deposited. Total balance 3,113,000,001. His hands start shaking. He can't believe how much came in from just 2 days, and only around 10 hours of actual playtime. For a moment, a thought creeps in. Maybe he doesn't need to go to work, but he immediately shuts it down. He reminds himself that he finally got back to the real world he wanted so badly. He can't throw that away. Even if he feels a bit bad for the viewers, he decides to keep streaming as just a hobby. Meanwhile, online, the chat is still going wild, arguing, accusing, and calling him a scammer who somehow got 4 uniques already. But Kong isn't there to see it. Kong thinks about Yun Wu, remembering how much he helped him, and worries a little about him. He imagines Yun Wu excitedly asking if he'll keep streaming after making 3 million won. For a moment, Kong almost gives in. Of course he would continue, but then he stops himself. He reminds himself there's no guarantee things will always go this well. A stable job would give his mom more peace of mind. Still, Being able to support her like this even a little feels good. He eventually dozes off. Then suddenly, Kong. He wakes up to his mom calling him. He groggily asks why she's waking him so early. She immediately snaps back that it's already morning, and more importantly, asks about the money. Kong realizes what she's talking about. She starts worrying, asking what he was doing all night and whether he's doing something shady. Kong quickly denies it, telling her to at least listen before hitting him. She presses him. How did he earn that much money properly? To her, the only way to suddenly get that kind of money is gambling. Kong explains again. He tells her about Yunwoo, the game, and how they streamed together. The money came from viewers reacting well to it. Then he reassures her. She knows him, he's not the type to do anything illegal. His mom pauses. Then she says they'll talk properly later after she gets back from work, and tells him to hurry up and get ready as well. Kong insists he's serious. She responds that she does believe him, but she's worried this might become another burden for him, like work already is. Kong stays quiet, and in his heart, he makes a promise. His mom won't have to carry everything alone anymore. He'll work hard and make sure she can finally live comfortably. Kong thinks that after surviving 55 cycles of regression, possession, and reincarnation, the real world should be easy. But the moment he steps into the office, reality hits differently. The team leader snaps at him right away, asking if he's really going to daydream on his first day as an intern. Kong already feels irritated. He had barely clocked in when Lee Min-ho dumped a pile of documents on him and left for outside duty. The work itself wasn't impossible. Everything was organized well enough. He had just started getting into it when the team leader called him over. Not for work, just to nag. Then comes the usual, go get coffee. Kong politely asks what kind. The team leader gets annoyed, saying they only drink iced Americanos and asking if Lee Min-ho didn't teach him anything. Kong quickly covers for it, saying he forgot. But in his mind, he already knows. The team leader is just waiting for a reason to lash out at Lee Min-ho. Even such a small errand feels heavy. When Kong comes back, just as expected, Lee Min-ho is already getting yelled at. Kong watches quietly. The team leader throws pointless criticism at him, and Lee Min-ho just takes it with lifeless eyes, like it's routine. But then, Lee Min-ho speaks up. He says he doesn't think he can handle more work with his current load. That's all it takes. The team leader explodes, mocking him for getting bold and throwing more pressure at him, telling him to just do what he's told. Kong steps in, handing over the coffee. Then he quietly helps Lee Min-ho pick up his scattered documents. The team leader notices, and glares at Kong like he crossed a line, muttering that they're all full of it. Eventually, they return to their desks. The office goes back to normal, but something feels off. Lee Min-ho just stares blankly at his screen. His expression is empty. Then he quietly apologizes to Kong, saying he's sorry Kong had to see something so pathetic. Kong sees it clearly. This kind of real-world pressure is a different kind of hell. Kong brushes it off, saying it's fine and the team leader is just in a bad mood. But Lee Min-ho shakes his head and says that's not the real reason he's apologizing. He explains that the new project dumped on him is heavily development-focused and will take a huge amount of time. Because of that, he won't be able to look out for Kong properly anymore, and that's what he feels sorry about. Kong connects the dots and asks if the project is related to RP. Lee confirms it is. It's tied to the gear industry, and since the system is so complex, they actually have to play the game themselves for long periods. Kong immediately says he can help with that. Later, Kong meets Loafer. Loafer looks unusually energetic. Kong asks if he even slept. Loafer proudly says he got a full 3 hours and tells him to come inside first. Inside, Kong groans, saying being a working adult is the worst. Loafer asks if it's really that bad. Kong says he could fill an entire stream just complaining about his team leader. Then he asks what Loafer wanted to show him. Loafer pulls out his phone and says to take a look. It's full of inquiries. Companies reaching out after yesterday's stream. Big ones too. Even a major firm offering a starting deal of 100 million won. Kong is stunned. 100 million. Loafer says everyone is desperate to sign him and tells him to pick a company. He even points out one that looks the best. But Kong doesn't react the way Loafer expected. He just stares at him. Loafer gets nervous and asks what's wrong, telling him to relax and asking what happened at work. Kong doesn't buy it. He tells Loafer to stop hiding things and just say it straight. He can always tell when he's lying. Loafer insists he's not hiding anything. Kong looks him in the eye and asks one simple question. Does he really want him to join a big corporate team? Loafer quickly tries to backtrack, laughing awkwardly and saying he didn't mean anything negative. Kong tells him he knows, but he still shouldn't hide how he really feels. That hits Loafer a bit and the tension breaks into light, friendly punches between them. After calming down, Loafer admits the truth. He says he knows Kong is struggling financially and he just wanted him to secure something stable. A 100 million won starting salary is an incredible opportunity. After all, Kong listens and says he's genuinely thankful for that. It really does sound amazing. But then he turns it back to Loafer. He reminds him that he's the one who first brought him into RP, so it only makes sense to hear what he actually wants first. Loafer pauses, then finally says it honestly. RP is huge right now, sure, but for him it just doesn't click. At first, the freedom felt exciting and stylish, but once he actually played it, it was too hard. Progress was slow, frustrating. And the truth is, he enjoys watching more than playing. Then he looks at Kong and says it clearly. To him, Kong is the brightest star in RP. All the unpredictable, exciting moments that will come from Kong playing, he wants to be right there beside him, witnessing it. Not just alone, but sharing those moments with everyone watching. That's why he doesn't want Kong to join some company and disappear into a corporate team. He wants to build something around him. A channel, a stream, something entirely centered on Kong. Rather than a stiff company, it would be like a guild that spans both reality and the game. Kong says he's talking about what he mentioned back in the army. After hearing that, Loafer is a bit surprised and says he actually remembers something he mentioned just once during training, then brushes it off and asks if that even matters and how they're supposed to make money. Loafer then explains that a feature to upload videos was added to Record, the platform they use for streaming, and the ad revenue is bigger than he expected. Plus, Kong is the most talked about user on Record right now, so their videos are being featured at the top. Loafer further says people will start playing RP after seeing Kang's gameplay, and more people will want to join that journey. He asks what Kong thinks about growing the channel more seriously. Kong points out that just a moment ago he was trying to get him a job at a big corporation. Loafer says, for the record, Kong wouldn't be an employee, they'd go in as co-COS, imagining it like building a proper RP show together. He adds that whenever Kong streams, he'll support him as much as possible. Kong says to forget the co-CEO stuff and just tell him what needs to be done. He'll help. Kong starts to thank him, but Loafer cuts in and says he'll make sure to grow this properly. Kong thinks that the reason he's playing RP is partly because of Yunwoo, but also because it might be his last chance to reach Airfort. If he clears the game and finds Airfort, maybe he'll finally understand why he had to suffer through all those cycles. Then something catches their attention. Loafer grabs his phone while eating and says Kong already has a ton of messages. Guess that's what being a celebrity is like. Then he suddenly stops and says, what the hell is this? Asking for a second as he tries to make a call. He keeps calling, telling the person to pick up, but no one answers. He gets frustrated, wondering why they aren't picking up. Kong asks what's going on to make him react like that. Loafer asks if he remembers the pioneer group they saw in Adlin. Kong says yeah, the one with the person holding the golden bow. Loafer says they're a pioneer group from a German corporation called Reston. He explains there's information going around that the Absel quest rewards drop in grade on a first-come, first-served basis. He continues, saying Reston has declared they're going to monopolize the quest, and for some reason, the slimes in the bomb slime fields aren't even visible anymore. Because of that, rumors are spreading that Kong planned all of this with them beforehand. Kong is completely thrown off and asks what the hell he's even talking about. Meanwhile, other players are already losing it. One guy starts shouting that it's total bullshit and curses both Reston and Black Dragon, calling them scammers. People around him agree, saying you can't trust anyone in this world. A woman nearby gets annoyed and tells them to shut up, saying they're lucky they even managed to get a rare reward. If they were any later, they wouldn't have gotten anything. But the guy keeps raging, saying it makes no sense for quest rewards to be first come, first served. Another player argues back, saying it's obvious. Why would the game hand out unique rewards to everyone? That's why they had to rush it, and now even the bomb slimes aren't appearing because of something Reston did. The argument escalates, with one threatening to initiate PvP. Then someone says Black Dragon needs to do an explanation stream today, assuming he already knows about Reston's announcement. Kong stays quiet for a moment. Then he asks how big Reston actually is. Loafer explains that a corporation's power is measured by how many strong players it has. Reston has rankers, players with combat power around 9,000. Even if they're on the weaker side among rankers, a ranker is still a ranker. Kong thinks it through and says it's not like there's no way to solve this. Then he tells Loafer to start the stream a bit later today, he has something to check first. Loafer is confused but doesn't argue. Later that night, Kong is alone, flipping through a book, page after page, searching, until finally, he stops. He says he found it. Then he closes the book and says it's time to go check it out. Inside the game, Kong heads into a dungeon. He looks at the entrance and says the cave location is just as he remembered. As he steps inside, he sees bomb slimes gathered everywhere, just like he expected. He moves carefully, making sure not to trigger any explosions, slowly navigating through them. Kong thinks there's only one reason bomb slimes would gather like this. Soon enough, he finds it. He says he found him, the Bomb Slime King, level 7. He recalls that the Bomb Slime King has a trait that attracts nearby slimes and absorbs them to grow stronger. But something feels off. The number of slimes gathered here is way too high. There has to be another reason. Then he notices something and immediately understands. It's a monster attractant, and it even has Reston's name on it. He realizes what happened. The attractant, a single-use item from northern dungeons, was placed here by Reston. Combined with the Slime King's natural ability, it created this unnatural swarm. That's why the entire area is filled with nothing but bomb slimes. Kong doesn't hesitate. He casts a massive fireball and launches it straight at the Slime King. A huge explosion fills the cave. System notifications start flooding in. Asterisk experience increased by 7,720. Asterisk level increased by 4. Asterisk plus 4 stat points awarded. Asterisk title unlocked. Adversary of bomb slimes, plus 5% damage to slime-type enemies. Asterisk elite monster suppressed. Asterisk plus 1 additional stat point. Asterisk title effect activated. Recorder of the Sage, boosts skill proficiency. Kong looks at all of it and says, just how many of them were packed in there? The video Kong posted on the community blows up instantly. Notices about rule violations start popping up everywhere, while people keep asking where all the bomb slimes suddenly disappeared. Kong explains that he recorded the footage inside the cave, and Yun Wu uploaded it anonymously. Even Loafer, after realizing what actually happened, starts cursing Reston, calling them disgusting bastards. Kong adds that of course he didn't include the part where he wiped out all the bomb slimes in the video. The comments go completely wild. People start throwing non-stop abuse at Reston, accusing them of trying to monopolize the quest and acting like dictators. Some are furious, others are just laughing at the chaos. At the same time, a lot of people start saying the same thing. Black Dragon needs to stream. Kong then explains his reasoning. He says Giant Romber was the key, the NPC he found mentioned in the guidebook. Romber was the miner who originally dug out the cave where the Bomb Slime King settled. After that, his workplace got taken over, which is why he's always depressed. From that, Kong connected the dots. If the bomb slimes disappeared, it had to be related to the king. And by confirming Romber's existence, he was able to pinpoint the exact location of the cave. But something about the guidebook bothers him. Romber's name was in it, but there was no mention of the cave itself. Kong thinks that even if it's a guide, it doesn't need to reveal everything. But this feels different. The information is massive, yet parts of it are vague, inaccurate, or outright missing. Feels intentional, like someone left out key pieces on purpose. Kong wonders, who exactly is Adventurer? Meanwhile, Loafer explains something important about the game. He says the reason most people avoid magic is because of proficiency. You need to build it up to unlock higher rank skills. But magic is on another level. Its proficiency is insanely hard to raise, to the point where it almost feels impossible for a normal player. That's why most players give up on magic entirely and switch to other skill paths, even though many still hope for a buff someday. Loafer asks if it even makes sense to hit 100% proficiency in one day. Even Kong can only laugh awkwardly. Loafer starts panicking, saying it has to be a lie, like some outdated April Fool's joke, and begs Kong to tell him it's fake. Kong casually says it's just rank 1 anyway, but Loafer snaps back that even rank 1 is insanely hard, saying any magic normally takes at least a month. He even tells Kong to prove it. Kong just thinks something is seriously wrong with him, then shows the status window. After seeing it, Loafer completely breaks down, saying it has to be a bug and that this shouldn't be possible. Kong shrugs and says that's just how it is. Loafer complains that this isn't what he meant by wanting Kong to succeed. Kong then tells him not to mention the proficiency on stream yet. Loafer is confused, saying it would attract a lot of attention. But Kong says he wants to show something interesting first. They turn the stream on. Loafer greets everyone, and the chat instantly explodes, demanding explanations and accusing them of exploiting bugs and working with Reston. Loafer tries to calm things down, saying they also needed time to figure out what was going on. He clearly states they have no connection with Reston, and if they were trying to monopolize things together, they wouldn't have revealed anything in the first place. The chat reacts in mixed ways. Some believe him, some mock the sudden shift, others others stay neutral. Loafer says they'll bring proof soon and asks everyone to wait. Then he shifts the topic, saying Kong has something to show before heading to Baldur's Master. They switch to Kang's perspective. Kong looks around and asks if Leah ran away again. Absel confirms it, saying she really doesn't listen. Kong tells her to be understanding, saying it's just that phase of life and that they'll be able to live together properly soon. After hearing that, Absel smiles a little and says she hopes so, thanking Black Dragon. Then she asks what brought him there and if he needs anything. Kong says he wants to learn the next magic and asks if that's okay. The chat immediately reacts, confused and shocked, questioning how he can just ask for the next magic like that. Some even doubt she'll give it so easily. But Absel calmly says of course. Now the chat is even more confused. They start questioning why this is allowed and whether proficiency doesn't matter because it's tied to a hidden quest. Others just keep getting distracted by Absel herself. Absel hands him the second magic book. A quest window appears. Learn the second magic from Absel. Asterisk objective. Use Absel's magic book. Asterisk reward. 10,000 gold. Fire burst. Rank 2 hero. Plus 3 stat points. 3,000 EXP. The chat reacts again. Some say only hero, while others point out that hero is still extremely valuable. Many admit their standards are just messed up because of Black Dragon. Some even warn him to hurry in case it's first come, first served again. Kong looks outside and notices a crowd gathering. He thinks they're all here because they're curious. Then he opens the book. Magic floods into him. System notifications appear. Asterisk quest completed. Asterisk first clear bonus activated. Asterisk grade upgraded from hero unique. Asterisk gold increased from 10,000 20,000. Asterisk stat points increased from 3-6. Asterisk experience increased from 3,000 7,000. Asterisk level up +2. Asterisk additional +2 stat points. Loafer loses it, announcing that Black Dragon just learned Fire Burst while ranking up. The chat explodes again. People can't believe it's another unique. Some point out that even normal Fire Burst is rare, and this being unique is insane. Others joke that hero isn't enough for him anymore. Some get jealous, blaming Reston again and saying he's building a full unique set. Absel then tells him that if he ever gets stuck, he should go to the magic research lab in the city of Ifrit, where he might find answers. Kong thanks her and says he'll come back again. As Kong walks out, he sees a huge crowd gathered outside. The chat immediately reacts, saying Reston is already swarming the place and trying to control everything again. Some players nearby look tense, watching Kong and Loafer closely as they pass by. Others try to act casual, joking about how scary the atmosphere is and hoping things go better this time. Inside, chaos breaks out. People start shouting at Absel, demanding magic books, everyone trying to grab one for themselves. The place turns into a mess of shouting and pushing. Kong watches and says they're incredibly greedy. Loafer gets worried and asks what Kong meant earlier about showing him something, because at this rate Reston will just monopolize everything again. Kong asks him one simple question. What's the difference between them and him? Loafer goes quiet. Meanwhile, the group inside starts coordinating. Their leader tells everyone to open the books at the same time and begins counting. 1, 2, 3. Kong calmly says it's showtime. The moment everyone opens their books, they ignite. All of them. Magic books bursting into flames at once. Panic erupts. People scream, asking what's happening and trying to put the fire out, but nothing works. The flames won't go out. The chat is losing it, laughing at the chaos while others are shocked. Someone even points out that using wind magic just makes it worse. Inside, it's complete disaster. Players are yelling, crying about losing their books. Absel, meanwhile, stands there with a faint, almost satisfied smile. Then she finally shouts for everyone to get out. People rush out in panic, shouting that they're doomed. Kong casually comments that it's all going to burn. What a waste. Loafer finally realizes this was Kang's plan all along and asks if this is what he meant. The chat calls Kong heartless, but at the same time they're confused. Why does this only work for him? And honestly, no one has the answer. Another viewer says to just enjoy the chaos because it's actually fun. Then suddenly, someone notices something. The reward has changed. A quest window updates. Learn the next magic from Absel. Asterisk objective. Use Absel's magic book. Asterisk reward. 5,000 gold. Fire burst rank 2 rare, plus 1 stat point, 1,000 EXP. The chat immediately connects the dots. The rewards downgraded, even though no one actually succeeded. That confirms it. This really is first come, first served. People start blaming Reston again, saying their actions ruined it for everyone else. Inside, One of the Reston members asks how many people managed to complete the quest. The answer comes back, no one. That makes things worse. The Reston leader goes silent, then starts walking straight toward Kong and Loafer. Loafer panics, saying he's coming their way. The chat reacts instantly, saying the ranger looks pissed and wondering if a ranker is about to go after a newbie. Some even joke that Kong has to act tough to live up to the name Black Dragon. But Kong doesn't move. He just stands there calmly. The Reston player stops in front of him and says he wants to have a little chat. Kong asks what they want to talk about. The Reston guy says it's about the quest that just appeared and asks why Kong was the only one who succeeded. Kong throws it right back at him, saying that's something veterans like them should figure out. The Reston guy gets irritated and asks if this looks like a joke to him. The chat immediately mocks him, saying they copied Kong and now they're mad it didn't work. The Reston guy continues, saying that all 50 people who tried before Kong, including himself, failed, and because of that, they lost their chance at a hero grade reward. He says there's no way it's a coincidence Kong was the only one who succeeded. Kong calmly corrects him, saying because of what they did, innocent players lost their chance too, and he never said it was a coincidence. Loafer tries to calm Kong down, but the chat is loving it, saying he's spitting facts and even joking about the ranger's personality. The Reston guy gets visibly more irritated. Kong then drops the key point. He says ranking up is based on proficiency and asks if they even maxed their proficiency before using the magic book. The Reston guy pauses and says proficiency is common sense, then questions if Kong is saying something that obvious like he's a newbie. Kong explains clearly you need to max fireball proficiency before moving to the next step. The Reston guy argues back, saying that condition applies to everyone, and Kong got the reward without maxing it too. Kong immediately shuts that down, saying he already maxed his. Now everyone freezes. The chat goes crazy, spamming reactions in disbelief. Even the Reston guy is thrown off. People start laughing, saying the ranger panicking is hilarious, while others admit they're panicking too. Kong tells them if they don't believe him, they can check the stream. He'll show his stats. Loafer hypes him up, whispering that the build-up was insane. Kong thinks there's no reason to hide it anymore. They assumed proficiency didn't matter just because of what they saw on stream. That alone proves something. Then he looks straight at them and says he's starting to doubt if they're really top-tier Vanguard at all. The Reston guy looks at the stats and says this is impossible. As the stats appear on stream, everyone gets confused. People start pointing out the stars next to everything, realizing those represent proficiency. Then it hits them, he maxed all of them. The chat can't believe it. They question how it's possible to max everything in a single day. Some even suspect hacking, but others quickly point out that RP has never been hacked before. The Reston guy, unable to accept it, says he's going to report Kong. Kong calmly tells him to go ahead, saying he has nothing to hide, unlike them. That irritates him even more, calling Kong childish. Kong casually replies that he just looks young for his age. The chat instantly jumps on it, realizing he's roasting him. People start joking about the ranger's age and appearance, making fun of the situation. The Reston guy gets even more annoyed, while the chat keeps laughing, especially since everything is being auto-translated. Finally, he says they'll definitely meet again soon. Kong doesn't back down and tells him to try playing the game honestly instead of controlling zones. The chat loves it, calling it satisfying. But things aren't over. The Reston group suddenly rushes back in, telling everyone not to stand around and to keep interacting with Absel, so they don't miss any opportunity. Players start scrambling again, trying to force progress. Absel looks visibly annoyed. Kong watches all of this and thinks that even if they try for 100 days, it won't work. He even feels a bit sorry for Absel. To her, magic was never about shortcuts. She was the kind of master who wanted her students to quietly and sincerely build their skills, without greed. Kong remembers her words. She used to scold him, telling him to stop trying tricks and reminding him that magic is like math. It requires proper understanding, step by step. And now he wonders, was it because she had seen too many people rush ahead, only to fail? Absel says that if he wants to learn the next spell quickly, it's not going to happen. She says until his basics are absolutely perfect, he shouldn't even bring it up again, or she'll never teach him. Kong thinks back and realizes that just like before, he got impatient and greedy. He tried to cut corners, got caught, and was kicked out. She told him to get out and never come back. He understands now that Absel hasn't changed at all, even inside the game. Her principles are the same. The more Reston keeps pushing and whining, the more her affinity toward them will drop, just like it did with him before. Loafer watches everything and says it's exhausting just watching those guys. Then he tells Kong he was a bit harsh earlier. Kong asks what he means. Loafer explains that even though Reston gets a lot of hate, they also have a very strong fanbase, so this could bring backlash to the stream. Kong casually tells him to hang in there and that he's rooting for him. Loafer immediately complains that he wasn't even the one fighting. The chat finds it hilarious, joking that Loafer just declared Reston his main enemy, and that he's going to be the one dealing with all the consequences. Kong points out that it's Loafer's stream channel anyway, making it even worse for him. Loafer calls him mean, while the chat keeps laughing. A small donation comes in, with someone saying it was satisfying to watch. The mood settles down. Reston leaves, the bomb slime field becomes active again, and things start returning to normal. Loafer thanks the donor. As they move forward, Kong says they should stop by the village shop first. Loafer gets confused and asks about going to Baldur's Master, but Kong says he has something to prepare before that. When they arrive, Loafer suddenly notices a huge crowd gathered somewhere. He points it out, confused why so many people are there. Then he explains to Kong. The person in the green robe is Rafina, a ranker and one of the few elementalists. The chat reacts instantly. They're shocked she's here. People start talking about her presence and how insane her aura feels. The chat keeps going wild. One says they're seeing 2 rankers in one day. Another keeps spamming that she's his wife, while others argue and tell him to stop. Then Rafina smiles, and the chat completely loses it, saying their eyes are blessed and calling out to her like fans. Kong just watches quietly and says He points out that Loafer said there aren't many elementalists. Loafer explains that only people chosen by spirits can become one. The chat backs this up, saying just meeting a spirit is already difficult, and even if you do, you have to communicate and synchronize with it to actually use its power. Some say they tried for years and still couldn't do it. Others add that, because of that difficulty, most players just stick to normal skills. Someone points out that spirit skills don't use mana, which makes them extremely strong in theory. Kong thinks about it and realizes this system is different from what he knows. He remembers the first time he communed with a spirit in the other world. Then he asks about Rafina. Loafer explains she's ranked around 4,000 in the Vanguard, making her very strong, and that she mainly uses water magic. Kong gets confused and asks why she's called an elementalist if she uses magic. Loafer explains that her spirit abilities are stuck at rank 3, so the elementalist title is more honorary. The chat explains further. Elementalists are rare, but their spirit skills aren't strong enough to be used as a main build. Even at hero grade, they only compare to a rank 4 common skill. Meanwhile, people around Rafina start asking her to show her spirits. She agrees. The chat gets even more hyped, talking about her rank 6 magic and how insane that is. Loafer then asks Kong if he's interested in spirits too. Kong says of course it's powerful, but Loafer reminds him that spirits are completely different from magic, and even in a game, innate talent still matters. Rafina starts praying, and the entire place goes quiet as everyone watches. People are completely mesmerized, calling it beautiful. Kong asks if she's one of those who benefited from innate talent, and Loafer says she absolutely is. He explains that she managed to commune with both water and wind spirits in just 6 months. As she continues praying, 2 spirits begin to appear. Kong notices immediately 2 attributes. The chat explodes. People start freaking out, saying their eyes are blessed, calling it radiant, insane, and even saying they can die in peace after seeing this. Others joke about wanting spirits too, asking if they can just make a wish right there. Some keep spamming how pretty she is, while others continue with the she's my wife jokes. Loafer is completely moved too, almost tearing up, saying it's beautiful. Kong watches calmly and thinks it's definitely flashy. He understands why people like it, but then he asks the real question. How long has she been stuck at rank 3? Loafer says around 10 months, and that she hasn't been able to fill her proficiency. Rafina finishes and says goodbye. The crowd immediately begs her to stay longer, but she leaves anyway. Kong thinks about it. This isn't just a simple proficiency issue. There's something more to it. He asks if she's the number 1 elementalist. Loafer explains that top-tier Vanguard players are extremely secretive, so no one really knows for sure. Kong starts thinking deeper. Only one player will clear RP and claim ownership. In a world full of competitors, information itself becomes a weapon. The strongest players aren't just strong, they're hidden, moving quietly with their own knowledge. At the same time, Kong feels something else. A strange sense of connection. Someone who has communed with spirits. That's not something just anyone can understand. He snaps out of it and says it's time to prepare for the next quest. Loafer remembers they came to the shop and asks what he's planning to buy. Kong just says he'll see when they get there. Loafer complains that they ended up buying a bunch of random junk and he doesn't even know what it's for, then asks where they are now. Kong tells him they've arrived. He says this is the place where the wind gathers. It's basically an entrance. Loafer looks at it and says it feels more like an entrance to the afterlife. Right then, a quest pops up. They've heard about Baldur's Master, and if they gain his recognition, they can learn a special technique. Objective ** find the wind swordsman in the Adlan forest. Reward * chain quest unlocked. The chat reacts instantly. People say it looks scary, some are shocked this place even exists, and others joke about how they almost lost it just looking at the cliff. Loafer asks the obvious question, how are they supposed to get down there? The chat, of course, starts trolling. Some say just jump. Others call it adventure and romance. Someone even sets a donation challenge for jumping without a cord. More money gets added to the challenge. Loafer immediately refuses, saying that's basically asking them to die. He turns to Kong, asking why he's so quiet. Kong just laughs a little. That's when Loafer realizes something's wrong. That exact same look, the one he had during the Balder quest. Before he can react properly, Kong grabs him. Loafer panics, saying even if it's a game, the pain still feels real. But Kong doesn't stop. He jumps. The chat explodes. People scream, laugh, and spam reactions as both of them fall straight down the cliff. Some call it insane, others call it refreshing, and a few joke that Kong is completely crazy for money. The chat keeps reacting as they fall. People say they're falling way too fast. Some try to cheer Loafer up, while others wonder if Kong actually knows what he's doing. But the fall just keeps going and going. The chat starts getting confused. They point out that they're still falling, joke that Loafer has passed out, and even start casually talking about ordering food while waiting. Some say this feels endless, and others tease Loafer for getting dragged into all this. After a while, Kong thinks to himself that it should be around here. Then suddenly, a blue light fills everything. He realizes they've reached the place. They land. Kong asks if Loafer is okay. Loafer, completely shaken, says he really thought he was going to die. Kong casually replies that he didn't, so it's fine, and calls it mission complete. Then a donation message pops up. Someone says over 300 people who were secretly following them are now jumping into the canyon too. The chat bursts into chaos again. People laugh, call them crazy, and ask why others are dying when copying it. They start asking Kong to explain what's going on. Kong thinks to himself that you can't just jump down without an admission ticket. But instead of explaining, he says he'll reveal it after Reston fails another 10,000 times. Loafer suddenly notices something and points it out. At the top, there's someone standing there. Kong confirms it. That's Baldur's master, the wind swordsman. Loafer realizes that if they just go up there, the quest is basically done. The chat reacts, surprised it sounds so simple. Others say the real difficulty was getting here in the first place. Loafer gets excited and says they should hurry since this might be their first discovery. But Kong tells him to go first. He says it's better if Loafer captures everything from his own perspective. It'll look better on stream. Loafer gets emotional, joking that Kong is becoming a real streamer now. Kong tells him to stop making a fuss and just go. Loafer says since he's pushing him like this, he has no choice and goes in excited, telling the viewers it's their first time discovering this. But the moment he steps forward, something insane happens. A spear suddenly shoots out from the wall. Loafer barely survives. The chat explodes. People say that was way too close. Others laugh at how he almost died, and some start calling Kong a devil for clearly knowing something like that would happen. A few even say Loafer's reaction was worth it. Loafer, still shaken, turns back and asks what the hell that was, accusing Kong of doing it on purpose. Kong calmly says it's his first time playing the game. Loafer straight up asks if he's Satan. Kong shrugs it off and says it doesn't matter since he didn't die. The chat keeps roasting Loafer, saying he got fooled again and questioning whether he's naive or Kong is just evil. Then Kong suddenly pulls out his bow and starts firing arrows ahead. Loafer looks around, confused, wondering if he was too harsh earlier. The chat tells him to just apologize at this point. Arrows keep hitting the walls ahead, triggering hidden traps before they can reach them. Then Kong walks up and tells him to move. Loafer asks what he just did. Kong casually explains he felt like there would be more traps, so he cleared them in advance. Right then, the ground starts shaking. Loafer panics as a massive stone comes crashing down toward them, saying there's nowhere to dodge. Kong doesn't even try to dodge. He just forms a fireball and says there's no need. Then he launches it straight at the falling stone and blows it apart mid-air. Loafer is stunned, realizing Kong didn't just stop it. He broke through the mechanism itself. The chat reacts again, saying that level of control is insane and that he clearly held back his power, even with a unique rank 2 skill. The chat keeps reacting non-stop. Someone points out how crazy the fireball's explosive power was earlier, while others joke that the resting guys are still falling and might actually hit 10,000 tries at this rate. Some call call it pure madness. Kong, in his mind, just tells them to keep falling and see if they can ever make it down properly. Then he says they should keep moving. Loafer nervously follows behind, telling him to wait. More traps trigger. Loafer panics again, but Kong instantly handles everything, shooting down incoming threats with his arrows like it's nothing. The chat is impressed, saying his physical ability is insane. Then Loafer suddenly realizes they're out of arrows. Kong casually switches to his sword and says it's fine. As they move forward, Kong tells him to stay alert and watch the surroundings carefully. Loafer takes it seriously this time and even starts commentating on stream, saying Kong is deflecting everything with his sword. The chat roasts him again, saying he was only ever doing commentary anyway. They push forward, getting closer to the end. Loafer gets excited and says they're almost there, but Kong suddenly shouts for him to stop. Loafer freezes just in time and realizes he almost died again. Kong tells him not to let his guard down. The chat notices something too, his movement, his stance. They can tell something serious is about to happen. Loafer asks how Kong knew to dodge. Kong says it wasn't that he knew, it just felt like he was about to die. Inside, he knows the real reason. After 55 regressions, instincts like that become automatic. The chat is confused but impressed, joking about his "I'm done for" detection ability and comparing him to a cat with insane reflexes. And then, another boulder comes crashing down from above. Loafer panics again, shouting as it drops toward them. Kong immediately fires another fire burst and shatters the falling boulder midair. Then he lets out a small breath and says they're almost there now. Loafer, already traumatized at this point, asks how much a little further actually is, because he's heard that way too many times already. Kong says they've arrived. Loafer refuses to believe him this time, but Kong tells him to just look up. And finally, they see it. They really made it. Loafer is shocked, saying it's actually true. The chat also reacts, getting hyped and telling them to talk to the NPC quickly. Loafer asks if this means they can finally get the skill now. Kong hesitates a bit. Then the Wind Swordsman speaks. He simply tells them to go back. Everything goes silent for a moment. The chat is confused. Some laugh, some say this means there's more to it, and others realize nothing in this game is ever that easy. Loafer is completely defeated, asking if they really did all that for nothing. But Kong doesn't react like that. He just stands there, calm, with a slight smirk, because he already knows what comes next. Kong suddenly sits down. Loafer asks what he's trying to do, and Kong tells him to sit down first. The comments immediately react, saying endurance mode is on, that they're not getting up, and that the mind games have begun. Some joke about messing with time, while others casually ask if they can order another chicken. Kong then says it looks like she passed the test they prepared. The master remains completely silent. The comments start guessing, saying things like Andrina, no answer, and that master speak little. Kong thinks that Asla extremely dislikes outsiders, and if you approach her carelessly, you'll just get expelled. The comments are still confused, realizing she's actually a woman. Some say they thought she was a white-haired old man, others react to her being a sister, and some praise the instincts behind figuring it out. Then a system panel shows a mysterious liquor made by mixing several drinks, marked with a sword symbol. Kong thinks about how he tried all sorts of things to win Asla over before, but nothing worked. He remembers that during one of his runs, he possessed Asla's body. When you possess someone, you gradually inherit their thoughts and experiences. Because of that, he learned hundreds of trap patterns and also how to win her favor. So he places the drink in front of her. The moment Asla opens her eyes and sees it, she tells him to put it away because she doesn't drink anymore. Kong calmly tells her to roll it back this way. Asla goes silent again. The comments get confused, telling her to answer and reacting to the awkward silence. Kong asks if she really doesn't drink. Asla replies that she already said it clearly. But Kong notices a lot of empty bottles lying around and thinks she should have hidden them better. The comments burst out laughing. Kong asks if she already had a drink. The chat reacts instantly, saying she got caught and joking about her sobriety. Then Kong nudges the drink forward again and tells her to try it, saying it's probably something she's never tasted before. Asla responds confidently that she has tasted every alcohol in the world, and someone like him couldn't possibly satisfy her taste. Then he tells her to just try it first, and if she doesn't like it, he'll leave. Asla, now clearly annoyed, makes a small hand gesture and says that if she doesn't like it, he has to leave immediately. She grabs the bottle and starts drinking, and ends up liking it way too much. She keeps drinking non-stop. The chat immediately reacts, calling her sis, noticing how she's holding the bottle with both hands, and joking about how she said she doesn't drink anymore. Loafer realizes what's going on and asks if this is why Kong bought all that random stuff earlier. Kong says yes, and reminds him he told him he'd understand later. Soon the bottle is completely empty. Asla asks if there's more. Kong thinks to himself that stage 1 is a success. A moment later, she's already drinking again. Loafer is shocked, saying she finished everything. Kong tells him to leave her be, saying she's always like that. The chat keeps reacting, joking that Balder must have learned more than just swordsmanship from her, and that she can really drink. Some say they'd already be done if they tried to keep up with her, even with water. Others joke about how strong the alcohol must be. After finishing, Asla calmly says it wasn't a bad drink. Kong says he's glad she liked it. The chat is amazed that her face isn't even red, joking that she must have alcohol resistance as a skill and calling her the real deal. Kong thinks that even after drinking that much, she's perfectly fine, and it's a good thing he prepared a lot. Loafer asks how he even knew how to mix those drinks. Kong casually says he worked part-time at a bar once. The chat doesn't buy it at all, pointing out this is a game and that his excuses keep getting worse, but they go along with it anyway. Kong, in his mind, knows the truth. It's a recipe he learned during one of his past runs. Then he finally brings it back to the point. He says now they can at least have a proper conversation, right? With the bottles tied using Balder's cloth, Asla looks at him and asks what Balder said. Kong says there was nothing in particular. Asla just responds with a quiet then tells him to go back, saying there's nothing she can give him. Kong doesn't back down. He says that means there is something she could give, but neither he nor anyone else has met the conditions for it. The chat immediately reacts, calling it sharp and wondering what kind of skill this could even be. Asla admits he's perceptive. She explains that she once had many disciples, but none of them succeeded in embodying her sword. Even Balder, who had talent, failed. Because of that, she gave up and disappeared. She says the talent required for her sword isn't simple, and just being good with a blade means nothing. Kong connects the dots and asks if it's about spirit affinity. Asla confirms it, saying he's not completely ignorant. The chat gets confused again, realizing this might involve combining spirits with swordsmanship. Some question whether talent should even matter in a game, while others roast them for thinking that way. Kong thinks to himself that talent does matter, but from his experience, spirits aren't something you just use through talent alone. You have to build a connection over time, and to do that properly, meeting Asla is essential. Suddenly, Asla releases an aura. Wind begins to gather around her. Loafer gets confused, wondering where it came from. Asla says the spirits told her how Kong passed the test. She acknowledges his agility, judgment, and swordsmanship, but then she dismisses it, saying that's all it is, and tells him to go back again. The chat laughs, spamming reactions as he gets rejected again. They start wondering what insane reward could possibly be hidden behind this. Loafer worries out loud, asking if this is even going to work and if the stream is basically doomed. Kong admits it won't be easy, and then the system suddenly pops up. Quest completed. Chain quest unlocked. A hidden quest appears. Convince Asla and learn her technique. First, you must change her mind. Objective: choose the best method. Demonstrate combat capability. Attempt persuasion through dialogue. Establish affinity with the spirit. Reward: 100,000 gold, Asla's secret manual, plus 10 stat points, 10,000 EXP. Loafer is shocked and immediately hypes it up on stream, saying this is insane and it's a hidden quest. The chat goes wild. People don't believe it at first, calling it fake or a bug, while others are stunned by the rewards. Some point out he already got unique skills and now a hidden quest too, calling it completely crazy. Donations start coming in, with people asking if it's really hidden or just a bug. Kong looks at the options carefully. His eyes stop on one thing: establish affinity with the spirit. He realizes something important. Asla's technique is valuable, but what he truly wants is the path to communicating with spirits. Loafer notices his choice and is confused, saying that option looks like the hardest one, and that he doesn't even try to understand Kong anymore. Kong replies that he never tried thinking in the first place. The chat reacts instantly, joking that facts can be violent and telling Loafer to brace himself. But Kong isn't paying attention to them anymore. He feels something. Inside him, something is reacting. Then the system activates. Title: Recorder of 55 runs. New effect unlocked. Mastery of all experience skills increases extremely fast performance scales. With experience, all spirit affinities are activated. Spirit power effectiveness greatly increases. Kong realizes it immediately. This is it. In his mind, he says, it worked. He says that spirits don't approach humans easily. Even if you build familiarity, you can't really tell how much progress you've made. He wonders how the game implemented spirits and whether the communication method is the same. Then he thinks there's no choice but to try. So he starts. He slowly raises his hand and begins calling out to them. Then something happens. A system message appears saying the wind spirit feels strong curiosity toward him. The chat freezes for a second, then explodes. People can't believe what they just saw. Some ask if that was really a spirit message. Others point point out that Kong was muttering something before it appeared. A few call it insane talent, while others say they can't even tell if this is real anymore. Some just sit there stunned, saying they're witnessing something crazy live. And a few even say it's better not to interfere with anything Kong does from now on. Meanwhile, Kong keeps focusing. He can feel it clearly now. And then he realizes this is something truly insane. What is it? If you don't want to miss it, subscribe right now and turn on all the notifications.